welcome back to another episode of the Joey Licea podcast. I'm Joey Licea, and with me today I have a returning guest, Alex Funk, and in my background, I don't know if you can hear my baby's crying. My kid is crying in the background. You can hear him?
Yeah.
You can hear him for real?
I heard him for a second. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well,
Perfect timing, bud. Perfect timing.
Right.
Returning guest. I don't know if you've realized that this is your third time doing this, or it's really the fourth time, but the first time it was I didn't know how to record it properly, and it went to shit. I think I have the audio, but I don't have the video, or even then I have like a really rough audio. But the second time was your first time ever. Basically, I put you out onto the podcast, and you're one of the first episodes. I think you're the second episode.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And that was 2 years ago from this month.
Holy crap.
And then the Hooker Spit one was 1 year ago from this month.
No way.
Or next month, maybe August. I think it was August. But yeah, it's basically every year we do this.
Oh my God.
The last 3 years or 2 years.
Your podcast is people are going to be their anticipation is going to.
Yes.
It's like that. It's like in Rocky Horror Picture Show, except, he says except a year later, he says the rest of it.
That's right. Oh my God.
Just murdering people. Yeah.
And then we talked about Serbian film.
Oh God, off to a
and you haven't even seen it, huh?
No, it came up today actually at the party. Yeah, I didn't mention it, and it wasn't like worth really mentioning. It was just sort of like as a movie that I read about that I never want to watch, because just from reading it. That's what we were talking about, that kind of stuff where it's like, if I know this isn't a movie, then I'm out. Yeah.
Shitty movie.
Thanks for making me think about that. Yeah.
You're welcome. But at the same time, fuck that movie. Fuck that movie. We should do like a list of fucking all-time shittiest movies that we've ever seen.
That we haven't. Yeah. I know, right? There's a few. We went over a little bit last time too. Because I don't think there's too many that I do not want to see just from like hearing about what's in it. Like that one too isn't like one scene. I feel like there's at least 3 different things going on in that movie that just kept building for me, of being like, I really don't want to watch what happens in this movie.
Even this, like the beginning is about a porn star, like who does like anyways, from the description I read, it was like a porn star who does like out of pocket porn. Like he doesn't do like the typical porn that you would think of. He does like out of pocket, which already is like, nah, I'm good. I wouldn't ever want to see that movie. That's well, I think, and I'm probably wrong, but from what I remember, the premise, was like, either he was getting out of it, or like there was some reason he kind of got sucked back in to this, and then it turned out to be some really fucked up shit. Right.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
I tried to block that movie out a little bit, but I don't think I'll ever watch it. And I that's how, I've seen a lot of weird shit. I've seen a lot of real shit since the internet is a thing. So like, I feel like it shouldn't be a big deal, but there's something about even just hearing the things that he had to do just fucked me up. I was like, oh, like I can imagine I'm sure that shit exists real somewhere too.
When I was in school, it was before the internet. It was Faces of Death, like a VHS. Oh, yeah. You remember that?
Yep. Yeah.
People would pass it around and shit.
Yeah.
That shit was fucked. And then it was Bum Fights, which isn't really like as bad, but I remember Bum Fights was like a real fucking like,
it was disturbing in its own way, for sure. And it was, we watched it. It was definitely entertaining, and I feel like it got really, I think I might be more sad now to watch that than I was when I did in my like early 20s. Now just the Bum Fights thing, and like I feel like they, it's like wasn't it like, they had these guys who I mean, they're just like, they're just gonna do anything
for money. Yeah, for like $1, like $10. They would like do fucked up shit. Yeah, like or fight people.
Yeah, like I feel like I remember seeing, one of the dudes not wanting to do something, and then they're just like, "Oh man, we'll give you, more money or whatever," and and then he did it. I remember once there was, yeah, like one thing was just like, "Hey, uh, like break the drive-through sign at some fast food place, like with your head or something," and they just paid this fucking fucked up bum dude to just fucking like run his head into like a fucking thing, like a sign, and break the plastic, that kind of shit. And it's just like, it's just kind of fucked up. It's like shit now that like, yeah, I haven't watched anything like that in so long. I think like I'm either not, and yeah, oh, you remember uh like rotten.com, which I think we maybe mentioned last time. Do you remember that?
I remember it, but I don't think we talked about it. And I
Oh,
don't think I ever really looked at it, but I'm familiar with the name.
I used to really like looking at that shit because
What's on there?
so it was like one of those things where I guess you could say they curated a lot of really fucked up shit, and a lot of it's really, like, but like one of the things I always thought was really interesting was like they had like real autopsy photos of like famous people, or
Ooh.
people, or like, like Kurt Cobain or JFK, or some real gruesome stuff that like definitely back then, I mean this is like, around 2000 or something, right? Like this is like maybe in the 90s also and shit. So it was like real, it was, yeah, anyway, it was a lot of that stuff. And so not so well. And see, I wasn't super big, I wasn't on it like a lot, but I definitely would check it out. And yeah, you see, or the remember that there's that, the Rage Against the Machine cover where that monk lit himself on fire,
Right.
and tons of stuff like that. Probably worse stuff. Like I just don't even remember. It's been so long. But yeah, you just go there and flip through all their stuff, and
Nowadays, I
there you
guess
go.
nowadays the equivalent to that is probably maybe you heard of um uh, something.com, like when they really post fights.
It's something.com.
Where they post fights. No, but it's like .com is part of it. It's like that's like a big thing. Um 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 um
No.
World Star.
Oh,
WorldStarHipHop.com.
yeah.
But it's even though hip hop's in the name, a lot of stuff on there is not hip hop. It's just like crazy fucking shit that you would never even like.
Huh.
It's like that, like crazy shit, like just wild shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
wild shit.
I've definitely seen stuff on that. It's not something I go looking for, yeah, like, and that's, yeah, so I've definitely seen stuff on that, because I know the names come up, but yeah, like also back in the day it was just like, I felt like you didn't know as many sites that existed, and so you really remembered like eBaum's World, and you really remembered like
eBaum's World,
Homestar Runner, or whatever it was, which I didn't even like, not that that's like terrible or anything, but like yeah, just like just now I think there's so much stuff to, yeah, eBaum's World was fun. Now I just look at a lot of cat memes and stuff and things like that, like it's totally different. Like I'll look at something I posted on Facebook or something like that pops up from like 8 years ago or something, and I'm just like, wow, that joke is terrible. Like, why did I just, things have changed so much.
what was I thinking?
But I've seen some shit. I remember, yeah, like someone on one of those, it might have been rotten.com, one of those sites, showing me, some reporter or some dude in the Middle East getting beheaded, by the Taliban. Probably not even, just by, whatever, just some shit, just some, there you go. You want to watch this video? I'm like, yeah. And I'm just like, I will never forget that. That was creepy as fuck. And yeah, and some really crazy videos, like yeah, I haven't seen any crazy videos in a long time either. I remember there was a time I feel like it's like, oh man, have you seen fucking, Two Girls One Cup or whatever, and
Right.
that shit's fucking like almost 20 years old now or some shit probably. Like, but
Definitely.
yeah, no thanks. Yeah,
I've I don't have the stomach anymore for that stuff, but at one point I used to be able to watch those things, but now lately I don't know, just I can't do it. I can't even like think about it. It's just like, ugh, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, I got enough of that shit rattling around in my brain still. Like, you don't forget some of that shit, dude.
Right. Right.
Do you ever see the Pain Olympics?
No, the Pain Olympics. No.
The Pain Olympics, please. Yeah, do not. That was like, yeah, like, and so some of that stuff was like, oh man, like, can you watch this? Like, hey, there's this crazy video. It's really fucked up. And it's like, and you go, yeah, I'll fucking watch it. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm watching a dude chop off his own dick, or some shit like that.
Oh shit! What's the wait? The pain, but Olympics. I'm thinking like, is there a bunch of guys doing it at once, and whoever cuts it off wins?
Might as well be, but no. Good guess. If there was a thing like that, it would have been on there. Yeah, it was like a compilation basically of all of these all these things like that.
That makes more sense. Compilation.
And yeah, self mutilation was part of it. Some of it's just really bizarre, but then other stuff's like fuck, and like you're not ready for that. You're like, oh my God, like someone doing self surgery, kind of shit. It's like,
oh my God,
dude. Anyway, fun. Yeah.
But no, I've been following you on the social medias, and you're funny as fuck. But I saw recently you had a problem with Stranger Things.
Hell yeah.
What?
Are we talking about this? Yeah.
I mean, is it okay?
Let's do this.
What? Okay.
I'm going to warn the world. That's what's happening.
And I read something that one of the someone had agreed with you. I was reading like the thread of comments in your own page, and someone had agreed with you and was saying why they didn't like it. And you went into your reason why you didn't like it. And it's crazy because I could see what you meant, but at the time of watching it, I didn't see it then. You know what I mean? But I can see how someone could not like the whole, like, okay. So you had said, let me just focus on this one thing you said. You said that the Upside Down was better if you didn't explain it. Like is better if they didn't explain it or something like that, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And I agree with that because a lot of things would be like one of the movies I've seen that I thought was crazy is you've seen Jeepers Creepers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like that was to me was a good movie until you found out who the fuck that guy was. It was some supernatural thing. If they would have just left it as like it could just be a regular dude, just fucking crazy, that would have been better. Because that's what I thought it was at first. Just some fucking guy doing all these abnormal things that you like, how does he do it? But he does it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in the end, and then part 2 was just shitty because you already knew it's this flying demon fucking guy who just fucking sucks people's souls and shit. And
yeah.
Like, oh, it wasn't that great to me.
They're trying to just, yeah.
Right. But if the imagination is a big part of like the success of movies, I feel, or like it should be.
Yeah. And I guess like, so I guess the Upside Down really is, was still there. I guess so it's one of the things I didn't like about the season anyway, was like, I was just like, yeah, this seems really lazy. Like they basically just didn't like, so, okay, the Upside Down basically existed, I think, right? And she put him, spoiler alert, she put one in the Upside Down. So technically, like, they didn't really, I guess, explain it, but I guess what I meant to say was he is the reason why all that shit's happening in Hawkins. That part I thought was stupid. I mean, like, it's fine, like, as but I didn't like the way it worked in that show, and I felt it was really lazy to do that. And the part of not knowing why all that shit was happening in Hawkins, or just being like, oh, there's this other dimension with all this weird monsters and stuff like that, that was just enough for me. There's this other weird dimension that we've somehow tapped into, and there's some fucked up shit in that dimension. Like, I mean, that's like a classic sort of like it's hell kind of concept, I guess, right? Like, it just doesn't really need an explanation. It's just really bad. And if you did think about that enough, you'd probably just be like, yeah, wait, what is this place? Why does that even exist?
Right,
like, it's
right.
just, what do they eat? I don't know what happens here. So yeah, so I guess that's what I meant. Because with it being Vecna, yeah, it just I think I'd heard also that someone, which isn't true now after watching it, but someone was saying that they thought someone was saying that he was like Vecna was like sort of like a general. Maybe he was in the show now that I think about it. I don't really remember now. Like he was good. He was actually, there was actually someone behind Vecna, which may or may not happen anyway, I suppose. But it seems like right now Vecna is the reason all the shit's happening.
Right.
So he somehow just showed up in this place and was like, "Hey, I'm making all this shit happen because I can move things with my mind, basically."
Well, I
and
think
that's
he's trying to get back at 11. He's trying to get her. The whole time he's been trying to fuck with her.
Yeah.
So he fucks with her friends. He fucks with all of them. You know.
Yeah, and I don't know how he can do that. Anyway, just like you're in this other realm, and your power was you move things with your mind, and so now you're like, or you're able to try to open doors and use that weird. Remember the whole mind flayer is just like, it's just like a big cloud that's just sitting there in the fucking upside down that he turned into the mind flayer, and you're just like, what was that? What is this? What's happening here? Anyway, yeah, I guess you could, well, I don't want to say it's even nitpicky, honestly. I feel like there's just too many things that were just too full of holes for me to really be okay with.
You know what part of the problem is, I think, is that it went on too long. It's going on way too long. Like, shows
it went on way too long.
Yeah, it should have ended a long time ago. Even like when they, like, that's what my thing with a lot of shows. It's like, I get it, you want to make more, you want to make more money and you want to be successful, but just end it. We don't need to, like Dexter. That was a good show, but it ran way too long. And then like, I think that's why Ozark was really good. Breaking Bad was really good, but even though it was 6 seasons long, but still it didn't seem like 6 seasons to me. Breaking Bad didn't.
Yeah.
Ozark was 4 seasons, and that one was, I mean, they could have done 3. You know what I mean? Like, they could have cut. They can shorten all these shows, but they got to keep going. And like some shows, like they fucking go like 20 seasons and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just keep going and going and going. It's like, it's just a franchise, just a fucking thing now. Like Walking Dead. Like, that was good. I thought it was good the first couple seasons, but now it's like season 11, season 12 or something like that. And it's like, I don't care anymore.
I don't even know. Yeah. I haven't watched that in so long.
Were you into that in the beginning?
I was, but only for like the first like 2 seasons, maybe.
Right.
It took me a long time to even, I think I'm only on season 4, maybe 5. And that took a long time to get there. But the first 2 seasons I blew through. And then, yeah, I don't know. That show just didn't catch me after that as much. But yeah, Stranger Things. Yeah, this whole last season where all the episodes were hella long, and it was like this whole it didn't need to be split into 2 parts. It could have easily been 1 part. I feel like there's a ton of filler shit. There's a ton of extended scenes where they're just like riding around, or they're like walking slowly through the house, and it's just like, are you fucking there yet? Like, just like, right. There was a bunch of times where we were both just watching, like, they're still doing the thing. Like, it was just, yeah, it was a lot. And I guess I appreciate the idea of trying to do Vecna as they gave him that sort of like Halloween ending where like he like, you think he's dead, but you look and then his body's gone, and that kind of stuff. So there's going to be another season and he's going to be back.
Halloween ending.
Yeah. That classic, like Friday the 13th kind of shit.
He's not dead.
Not dead. And they were going for that. They said like, yeah, we wanted to do 80s horror, right? Like a bad guy. And I'm like, like that's good. Like I just didn't think they did a good job with any of the stuff they did. Like it was very much extended out and more hollow and honestly, I didn't think it was still fun to watch. Like I still was like, I just groaned and like eye rolled at a ton of stuff. And like I don't know why Eddie had to die the way he did.
Yeah.
That was really dumb, I thought. And like they just could have done things so much better. It's the scene where like there's then like right after they have the scene where like Dustin's talking to the uncle who has no idea what's going on, right? And he's like, Eddie was like a hero and he fought to the end. And the uncle at no point is like,
Fought what?
What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah,
He
he
was
died
just like
in.
emotional, like, yes, he did. You don't even know what he's
Yeah,
talking about, dude.
no, and it's like, I mean, an earthquake happened. That's all he knows, and it's like
Right.
we fought the earthquake. Yeah, so just and it's like this scene. It's like all dramatic, and like I just kept thinking of shit like that. I'm like, I don't know why this is happening, and I don't know why he died. It was
Right.
just dumb. It was very anyway.
I
Yeah,
feel you.
not
I feel
not
you
my
on that.
favorite.
I mean, that always happens. People always change my opinions because yeah, I get it. But it just mainly it ran too long. It ran away because even they said when in the beginning, like after season 1 was such a success, they were like, oh yeah, 3 parts. That's it, we're done. But they're pushing it. Like they're gonna do a 5th season. And supposedly it's gonna be the last season, but we'll see. We'll
I
fucking
hope
see.
so. Those kids are hella old now too. Consider like
Right.
when you guys see the trailer, whatever the first season, and they're just like babies, which is fine. Like it doesn't matter, but like yeah, like all that stuff too was dumb. I mean, whatever. I thought a lot of this story with the kids was pretty obvious and just not like what do you call it? I don't know. There wasn't. I don't think the stakes were that high ever. It never seemed like it was like dramatic or anything. But it's a fun show. They do it in a fun way. Um, but yeah, it's like anyway, I thought it was pretty weak. And then yeah, the episodes are all hella long, and I'm like, why? Why would you even do
Yeah.
that?
The last 2, like that 2-part, and they released the last 2.
Yeah.
Each one of those was like 2 hours long. I was like, fuck, bro. Like each one's a movie. I thought me and my wife were gonna kill it like in a night. We could not fucking do it. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, this is like a fucking long ass episode.
You know what was pretty good though? Have you seen Nope?
No, but I've wanted to see it. I've heard a couple people say it was bad, and a couple people say it was good.
I
Good.
could see that. I really liked it, and there were some things that I didn't like in the end. It just didn't, I don't know, didn't work for me, I guess. Like it maybe should have, but like I really want to see it again also, and I liked it that much that I want to see it again. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Did you ever watch that guy's movies, the other movies he done?
Yeah, and Get Out is like one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
Same.
And I want to go back and watch Us because that one was cool. I like the idea, but I by the end of it I was fine. I was just like, that's okay. I really had, and it was a second movie, and maybe I just had really high expectations, but I just thought maybe it was like too convoluted for me or something. But yeah, I want to go back and rewatch it though, because I think I like his movies, and I think he does a really good job, making them and the characters and stuff. And like, there's a lot of good stuff about him. But the new one has a lot of good stuff in it, and some pretty cool scenes that are like pretty intense and stuff like that. Like it's not necessarily a scary movie. There's some good creepy stuff in it though. So I would definitely say, yeah, you should definitely see it and see what you think. But yeah, it's good. I liked it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I saw when one of the trailers, and it looked really good.
Yeah.
And plus, I like Get Out. Like you said, Get Out's really that movie took me by surprise. Like every part, like it's just the ending and everything. Like I was like, oh my god, this is like nothing I've ever seen before.
Yeah. Totally. He has a really good job of doing stuff like that too. I really appreciate that. Where at least he has some ideas that he wants to put out there that are the best they could be in his opinion or whatever. And yeah, and like I was just seeing a thing on this one too, where he's talking about it, and basically he was saying the same thing. But yeah, because like with like Get Out, that's what reminds me of, like, oh, like I've maybe seen a movie like this where it's like there's like the brainwashing stuff, and like as far as just like some sort of like the horror movie aspect of it, like kind of getting tricked and then being stuck with these people, and there's like different things that are been done a lot, but like the way he does it is like so good. All the layers and that, and like just yeah, he's pretty good.
And I was like movies where they like that Get Out, like the two, like the husband and wife. They're both like, I've seen them in comedies. Like they're like comedic actors. I mean, I've seen them in dramas as well, but I don't even know their names. But like the
Right.
guy, the main guy was like the therapist or the bad guy, whatever the fuck he was, the doctor guy.
Mm.
He was the bad guy in Billy Madison. Remember? You ever seen Billy Madison?
Yeah.
He was that fucking guy, which is like I've seen him in goofy things, I've seen him in serious things, but like I really like stuff like that. And even that girl, the Catherine, I think her name is Catherine Keener.
Oh,
The
the mom?
lady, the mom,
Yeah.
yeah, the mom. She was in the 40-Year-Old Virgin. She's the one who took his virginity.
Yeah. Right. And
So it's like
they're both
crazy.
creepy in that. Yeah.
Right, right.
They
I
both
like
do a
movies
good
like
job.
that where you've seen them in a happier place, but now they're playing like these dark characters.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh. Yeah, and they're very convincing. Yeah.
Right. Oh
And
yeah.
you're like, and then you're watching it, you know it's a horror movie, and you're like, okay, there's gonna be, something's gonna be under the surface or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'd vote for Obama a third time. And like that whole that whole commentary stuff too is like very fun because I feel like I've seen that with people, and it's like that very
I have a
like,
friend who's black.
yeah, yeah. And then you're there being
I
like,
used
oh,
to hear that a
that's
lot as a
cool.
kid. I used to hear that a lot. Like I have a friend who's Mexican. I could say that. Like it's like what?
That's the only there's one person that I've never unfriended or blocked anyone on Facebook, except one person who that was constantly arguing stuff like that, and then being like, yeah, like it can't, like this can't be racist because like, yeah, I know Mexicans. They're my friend. I have some friends that are Mexican. That's like, I'm
Right.
not racist or something. And it was just got so annoying. They kept arguing with like my friends and stuff about shit and just never. I was just like, fucking fuck this block. And then someone that popped up after like I hadn't even talked to them in like 10 years or something. And all of a sudden they just started like commenting on all my shit. And it's like, where the fuck do you even come from?
Right.
But I'm just like, that doesn't mean you can't be racist because you fucking know a Hispanic person or whatever. Like you're
Right.
just like,
Yeah. People
you have a
are
black friend. Well, okay. Like,
or like, yeah, I hear that with all kinds of minorities and gender types. Like, or it was one guy was like, oh well, you know, that's not homophobic because I know like my cousin's gay or something. It's like, god damn, like that's the most randomest shit. Yeah,
yeah.
people are wild. But have you ever seen Breaking Bad?
Honestly never seen Breaking Bad. I've seen some episodes and I don't know why I haven't really watched that show.
Okay, because that's yeah, it's like my favorite show of all time. Like
It's
I watch it like
fun.
once a
Yeah.
year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's that I get into it. And then like right now is Better Call Saul, and that's the prequel, and that's ending in like three more episodes, and that's like it's really good, really fucking good.
Nice. Yeah, I got to catch up on a ton of TV.
I just finished Sopranos.
We started that a while ago. Yeah, we're still in the first season though. But
Really?
yeah.
Oh wow,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It took me a year to watch it. Like I it was like the parts where I was just like in and out. And even then, like there's probably a lot of moments where like I was like doing something else.
Yeah.
Like I was watching it in the background and I was like, but
It's good though.
the ultimate, like that show was really good. Like, I mean, from what I saw, and yeah, it just like in the end, it kind of crept up on me. Like the last season, it's like it gets really like intense. That's a show that everyone's always talking about, praising for many years, and I always want to check it out. And another one I want to see is The Wire.
Oh yeah,
that's a really good show.
Excuse me. Yeah, I remember watching that when that one came out, actually, because sometimes when people bring it up, I'm always like, The Wire, like the old show, like they're still talking about like it just happened or something, and because it's still people still watch it, and I remember really liking it. And I think I watched a season though or something. So yeah, I feel like those two shows definitely, like especially The Sopranos, just like they just blew up. HBO. Game of Thrones, and that was super big. I think The Sopranos, before that was sort of like just like their first really big show, I think, because they had shows before that, but
yeah, I can't think of anything before Sopranos. Sopranos was like, I think that was it, huh? Maybe
God.
What's that other one? There's The Wire, Sopranos, and then there's what's the other one with that gangster guy, the black gangster guy? I don't know.
I'm the black gangster guy.
He just died in real life. Michael
Oh,
something.
that's The Wire, I think.
Is it The Wire?
The guy with the scar on his face?
Yeah, that's The Wire?
That was The Wire, yep.
What's the other one?
The other show?
Yeah, there's another one.
There's gotta be. I'd have to like Google it.
I'm looking up right now. The girl from the wife is from Sopranos is in it.
Well, you know, they had the Gary Shandling show, which was actually really funny, but I think that was also more particular for people. It wasn't as like, it didn't blow up like the Sopranos or anything.
Oz.
There you go.
That's the one.
That one, I remember. Yeah, that was really fun back in the day. Yeah, that was funny. I don't know who said it recently. It came up recently though, at work or somewhere, and there was someone said they had gone back and kind of watched it, and they were like, they were just saying it doesn't hold up as well. They're all like, it's kind of, it was. They said it was kind of cheesy. They're like, really, they remember really liking it, and then going back to rewatch it recently, with being like, man, it's not as good as it was or something. So
Oz.
Yeah.
I have never seen it, but I've always heard things like it's a really good show, and yeah, I don't know anything about that, but I just know that the main character in that show is that fucking guy in the insurance commercials where like I'm road rage or I'm damage.
Oh yeah.
You know that guy?
Yeah.
He's always like saying some shit like I'm the fries in your car that you can't stop thinking about, and you have to eat them. And like he gets in a car accident because he can't stop thinking about the fries. He's trying to get the fries and shit. He's mayhem. He goes, I'm mayhem. That's what he says. I'm mayhem. Yeah, I saw that he's the lead character in Oz.
Yeah,
he's the main character. That's crazy.
Well, that was the first time I'd ever seen J.K. Simmons, and and he is a like white supremacist,
really
piece of shit in that show. Yeah, he's great. He was really like scary. Well, yeah, one of the episodes that always stuck with me was I think one of the prison guards, which the prison guard guy was, I always thought was funny because he was on this old sitcom called Wings, and he played this really,
I remember Wings.
Remember Wings? Yeah, he played the really derpy, stupid guy who was just kind of silly. And in the show Oz, he was like this really shitty security guard that was like taking advantage of inmates and like just beating them and like probably worse stuff. I don't know. And
Monk?
No.
Is he Monk? Because Monk was in Wings.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. He was like the mechanic or something, wasn't he?
Right. Okay, I thought you were talking about him. Yeah.
No, I don't remember. This guy's he was tall, blonde guy, and kind of big, kind of stocky, but like yeah, I don't remember yeah, he was always like this really sweet dude or whatever. And then he plays this really awful security guard. And I don't know if it was the Mayhem guy. It was one of the guys in the show. Grows his nails out, and like like the security guard guy would always take him to some part of the prison that was like kind of like a secret hallway kind of thing behind the wall or something, and like he would, I don't know, there was, from what I remember, there was a lot of like you're gonna suck my dick kind of shit going on that show. And I'm pretty sure it's the same guy actually that did this, might have bit a dude's dick off in the same episode. Maybe he was just like, I'm getting revenge on everybody is what was going on. So anyway, he and I don't remember this guy, and I want to say it was the Mayhem guy, but like I don't remember. But the security guard had fucked him over for I don't know, ever or something, whatever. So when the guy was like recovering, I think in the hospital or some shit. Anyway, I totally don't remember why it happened. It doesn't fucking matter. But anyway, this guy grows his fingernails out really long. And when the security guy tries to take him to like the secret hallway to do whatever fucking fucked up shit he always does, the guy fucking just like stabs him in his throat with all of his fucking like these long nails that he sharpened or whatever. And, you know, and kills him. And then he just like clips them all, and no one can figure out how the security guy ends up dying or whatever, you know. And so no one knows that he killed him. And it was just like, that just like always stuck with me, it just being like nuts. Like, and this guy, it was like a whole episode where this guy is basically, he was getting fucked over just by like everyone in the prison, and he just starts fucking
starts like fucking tearing everyone up, like just had enough breaking point. He's just like, it's really vicious. But yeah, man, I haven't seen that in like seriously like 20 years. But yeah,
You watched the whole thing?
I watched, no.
Okay, just parts of it. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of those shows. I feel like I used to just come home late at night or something and just like look for something that's on, and then that would be on and just like watch it, because it was really good. It was really interesting back then, and I think as a young dude, it's a very dude show, I think, in a lot of ways. And but I don't know if there's more stuff that maybe now that's like, oh, it has like a little more context or something. But yeah, it's I just haven't gone back to it. Yeah, it's not, I don't know. It's just old now, I guess. I don't want to watch it.
Right. Yeah. That's a lot to do with that kind of stuff. It's just so old. Like even Sopranos, like I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it. I watched it, but it's just like those parts when it was like, oh my gosh, like they're talking about old shit, like old dumb shit, and like they're looking for like a half episode looking for a fucking payphone. It's like it's fucking like they're just fucking crazy. It's just like it really it's out of date. Like you can when you're watching it, and you're going like, fuck, this is old shit, like some old fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
God.
It's funny, and like when we went back to watch it, like it was a solid show, like solid writing, acting was like great, like just like really interesting about this guy going to therapy, and he's this mob boss and he's having panic attacks, and just like all these cool things about that show.
Basically, without ruining it, I'm not ruining it. It's basically the plot of all 6 seasons is how a mob boss doesn't want to go to therapy, goes to therapy, and realizes that therapy unlocks his true potential. It's like, it's crazy how like he just becomes more locked in and more dialed into what he's doing, and he's more like aware of who is trying to do him wrong, and who he should and shouldn't fuck with. It's crazy. It's basically it's really crazy.
Nice. Yeah, that's a cool show. It's so interesting, because like it makes me think too that they only had done like analyze this and analyze that, like those movies, with like Billy Crystal, and and it's kind of similar, like it's Robert De Niro is the guy going to therapy, the mob boss, but but Sopranos gets to flesh all that stuff out, like you said, like this whole like unlocking the potential and like actually getting some benefits and realizing like he hates his mom or something, and there's a lot of things with the family stuff, and then you can kind of relate to that, those kinds of like discoveries too, where you're like, oh, like oh, I'm kind of like this probably because of whatever happened to me in my life, kind of stuff. And
that was like the show premiered in 99. That was before all this mental health bullshit, like all this mental health talk everyone's doing now. Like everyone's talking about it now. Back then it was like taboo for a man to go to therapy.
Yeah, it was still like that. And like you got this like super steeped in gangster, old school Italian, very macho, all that kind of shit. And just like, and then so seeing someone like that maybe even back then was more like, now it almost seems like, oh yeah, like you maybe go to therapy. Yeah.
Right. 100%. Yeah, it's more acceptable now for people to do that. And but back then, like you said, like a very masculine Italians are very, at least they're like the mobsters.
It's like that stereotype, if anything. And like
stereotypes,
and if you're like, I didn't even think about that, because I wonder if we had watched this back then also, because I know I've changed a lot since 1999, so like I wonder if it would hit a little harder with like how weird it was that this guy's going to therapy or something, or it's like, or how more important it is. Because now I'm just kind of like, I'm like, oh, there's like, it's just
right.
Well, now it's all sorts of shit of like, oh, you can just fucking, I get ads all the time for like just doing Zoom call therapy stuff, commercials or whatever, and like, but which is great. Like, I'm glad there's a lot of that stuff going on, because I think you could just get better at dealing with stuff than good, and him going to therapy in that show. I mean, it's like, that's why that show was also interesting, because that's a crazy idea. And it's just like, that would never happen, sort of. But what if it did? And
right,
or whatever. So,
but in real life, a lot of the mobsters, real life mobsters, they went against the show because they said if that ever were to really happen, especially to a mob boss, like if a mob boss were ever to get caught going to therapy, they'd be killed instantly because you're not supposed to talk about anything.
oh,
Like, you're not supposed to talk
right.
about. So like there was a clear statement from, I don't know who, someone who's supposedly in the mob. But then also one thing I thought was very, very interesting about the Sopranos in the first season, somewhere, probably first couple episodes, Tony Soprano is shown wearing in one of the scenes, he's wearing shorts. And like, I guess somewhere after the first season aired, he met real mob people, and they told him, listen, no one in the mob wears shorts. Like, never. That is the most inaccurate thing. And so from then on, he always wore pants. Like, he never wore shorts again. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
The mobsters actually influenced the show.
Can you imagine that you're doing something right, and then you got mob people coming up to you to like give you advice, and they're like watching your shit too, and it's like, yeah, now you have to like talk to mobsters or
Right.
whatever. That's scary sounding.
There's that movie, or it's a movie, not a documentary. It's a movie. Have you heard about it? It's about the making of you know who Miles Teller is? He's like the main character. You know Miles Teller? It's this movie about the making of The Godfather and how the mob was 100% behind that movie.
Yeah.
Being made. That's I haven't seen it. I saw the preview for it, but that's an interesting concept if it's true.
I haven't seen it. Well, and then Mario Puzo had a lot of, I think, relations with the mob, you know, when he wrote the book.
Oh, did he?
I think there's a lot of ties, I think. But I feel like I saw that preview too, and something with Francis Ford Coppola talking about it or something. Yeah, that'd be really interesting. And it's so crazy to do, like, can you imagine? That's one of the things that sucks about being famous and stuff too, or like doing anything really big like that, is like you just get so much attention, and like some of it's this kind of shit, you know, especially if you want to do movies about, you know, like Scorsese does gangster shit all the time. And but yeah, like you know, just real quick, have you watched Winning Time on HBO?
No, but I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the Lakers.
The Lakers.
Yeah, like the Lakers in the beginning, like 80s or something like that.
Yeah. Like before, it was like before their dynasty started, and they just got Magic Johnson, and it's really good. I think I've only seen about 3 episodes so far, but one of them before they got Pat Riley as the coach, the owner really wanted to get this guy Jerry Tarkanian, something like that, and he was a college basketball coach for Nevada, University of Nevada. So they had to, so if, according to the show, they offered him like just probably some real crazy amount of money, basically because the mob basically kind of got involved, and he basically didn't become the head coach of the Lakers, probably because the mob either, you know, they sent him like a message or wouldn't let him, and someone that was really close to him died. This is like, and that was true in real life too, like someone who may or may not have been part of what was going on with this whole deal, you know, died. And then Tarkanian never left to become the coach. But he was a winning coach, and so there was like, they were saying, basically alluding to like he gets all these like perks and stuff in Nevada, and part of it's because, you know, the mob's happy with him. So it's like hey, that's really cool, but you want to go try and do something else, and they're just kind of like, nah, dude.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't look into like the real stories that much about it. I remember the name, and I remember him as a coach, but it's like, it's all, and everything's going good, and he's getting all this, like, you know, he gets free food and, you know, blah blah, all this stuff, and they're just like really happy with him. Yeah, I think it was someone related to him too ends up being found murdered in the back of a car, you know, all around the same time for like no reason, kind of thing.
Jeez.
So yeah, it's like, it's crazy. Like, I would probably just shit my pants all the time if I had to talk to gangsters.
Right, like real actual gangsters, that would suck. That would be a horrible life to live. I'd be like, I'm out. Fuck this.
Yeah, like there's a lot of real. I live such a cushy life compared to like, most of the world probably, and take a lot of things for granted. And yeah, one of the things that kind of scares me is just like running into straight psychopaths or sociopaths who, yeah, have like no problem, murdering somebody or doing really fucked up shit. It's
Yeah.
just like this fear. I'm just like, oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Ozark?
No, I've been told many times to watch that one too.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's short. If anything, that's something that you might get out of it. It's short. It's 4 seasons, 10 episodes each season. I think the last season might have a couple more episodes, but they're like 45-minute long episodes. They stick to it. There's no like hidden 2-hour or like surprise 2-hour episodes anywhere. It's just straightforward, and it's pretty cool. It's interesting because it's another take on the cartel, like just the Mexican cartel, and how just like the mob, just how ruthless they are, just how they, like you say, like anyone who gets in their way, they're gonna cut them off or cut their throats, and
yeah.
And it's just ruthless. And it's just about this family that gets caught up in it. Family from Chicago gets caught up with the Mexican cartel, and it's just this whole roller coaster ride, and it's pretty crazy. But there's a lot of really good acting in it, like a lot of really good acting, just like Breaking Bad. It's the same thing. Breaking Bad's the same thing. It's just cartel. It's about drug cartels, which is I didn't know was a real thing, because I was watching Breaking Bad. It's about methamphetamine, and I always associated Mexican cartel with like cocaine and weed, never meth. I thought that was stupid, but I looked it up. It's a real thing. Like it's a real Mexican cartel have a lot to do with methamphetamine smuggling or methamphetamine transportation back and forth across not just the country, but like all over the world, which is crazy. And that's what it's about. It's just about like methamphetamine drug war
thing.
And really good acting. I mean, Bryan Cranston, really good acting. And then what's her face in Ozark? It's that, I forget her name, but she was like in she's in a lot of things.
What's his name? Bateman's in it.
Hedger Bateman's good, but he's not. I mean, he's great, but he knows acting. He knows directing. He directed a lot of the episodes, so you could see.
Oh, okay.
You could see like his influence, but like mainly it's forget her name. It's you ever seen that Jim Carrey movie where everyone's watching Truman Show?
Yeah.
His wife. That's Jason Bateman's wife in the show. And she's fucking really good, like really fucking good. Like she should win all the awards for acting. Like she's scary. She plays off. You believe her when she's scared, when she's mad, when she's angry. You believe her 100%. And then also, Robin Wright now. She's not Penn anymore. Robin Wright.
Yeah.
She directed a lot of the episodes too. It's really good. Fucking yeah.
Nice. Yeah. No, totally. I got so many fucking shows. Yeah, a friend of mine was like, when he was watching it, he was like, "Have you watched it? Have you watched it?" And it's like, it's on my list.
They do those things where like it doesn't matter if you're the main character or not. Like you're not safe. And you're watching a show and it's like, oh, it's okay. This guy's gonna be all right. He's safe. No one is fucking safe.
Oh, good.
It's one of those shows where it just surprises you. You turn around, you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like there's an episode specifically, if you ever watch it, where like I'll turn to my wife, I go, what the fuck just happened right now? Like, did that really just fucking happen? Like just crazy shit.
That's cool. That's man. Like when Game of Thrones was doing that, that's like it's
just like Game of Thrones.
Hard to watch. It's like suspenseful. Yeah, you're just
like when King Joffrey got taken out, I was like, what the fuck just happened right now? He's the fucking main character.
Yeah.
And even then, like who he was like the reason why I watched the show, because I hated him so much. And he was just so evil, and he was making everyone's life a living fucking hell around him. And then when they killed him, I'm like, who's gonna do that now? Like, who is that person? Is he gonna be as good?
Oh, and they found someone. Yeah.
yeah. They always went to the next thing.
Oh god, yeah. Ramsey was so fucking bad. I hated Ramsey.
I liked him. I hated him. I liked how much you were able to hate him. He was really bad. He was a piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh, he's such a psycho. And so Joffrey, like really good villains, man. Just like the worst villains. And like, and then like the Red Wedding, right? And like, and then all the Starks.
That's exactly what Ozark does. They do shit like that where it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What's gonna happen next? You know, like why would they do that? Like you feel bad for these people. Like I felt bad for them. I did not expect that to happen. The Red Wedding, I did not expect that to happen.
No, man. I mean, I never read the books or anything too. So like I didn't know either. And like that stuff is like, usually you need characters, so you don't kill them. And also it takes you out of your comfort zone super hard where you're like, oh, this isn't a fun show to watch. It's like,
or just, I don't even know. Like, I guess I was like relying on them, on the Starks. I forget her name, and the brother. Like I was like I was like leaning on them, like, okay, this is we're going their direction. We're gonna start.
They're like the good guys.
Yeah, or like because they killed Ned Stark. These are the people I'm gonna have to start trusting, or like watching and studying. I don't know what I'm saying, but just they made me feel comfortable watching the show. Like I got familiar with them. I felt like, okay, these are my friends. These are like I'm cool with these people. And then they fucking kill them. I'm like, wait a minute. Now who the fuck am I gonna like?
Like you're left with all the bad guys practically.
like now what? And like now what? And it just became a thing. But then I think the last season was pretty bad, or just toward the last couple seasons. Because like one of the things I talked to somebody on one of my podcasts. It's a girl named Christina. We both watched it simultaneously, like at the same time, and we both get into it where so they kill, I mean, spoilers, who cares? Everyone knows that my shit's spoilery. They fucking kill Jon Snow, bring him back to life, all so that he can just be banished to the wall. Like they should just fucking kill him, left him dead. Leave him dead. That would have been great. It would have been like, okay, like the Red Wedding, like, oh my god, they killed fucking Jon Snow out of the game, you know what I mean? But they brought him back and fucking,
and you're like, he's gonna be the king or something, right? Like he's gonna be
that's why they brought him back. There's like, a purpose.
Bran.
They banished him to the wall for betraying, and then they betrayed him, or he betrayed, he was blamed for Khaleesi's death when he did kill her. He did.
But it was not my favorite ending, right? It wasn't a good.
Who would you have picked to be the king? If you had
write,
if you were writing the show.
Well, it would have been really cool to see. And I am not a hardcore nerd on this show at all. So like, I don't know, but like it would have been cool to see, what's his name? Like who is still left? Tyrion
Lannister.
Yeah. That'd have been cool. I wish Jamie didn't die. I wish Jamie and Bree or whatever her name was, like you're like, and he's like, no, actually I still love my sister that I boned.
Right. That was unexpected too. That was another thing. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Could you not please?
Insist, you're such a bummer. Till the end, bro. Insist till the fucking end.
Their whole thing was so cool with Brianna and him, and so like there's like a ray of hope in that fucking show. We're just like, oh, thank you, like
right from the beginning, like from the very first time they met, like
they're friends.
He saves her
enemies, and like
and that was really. And then she saves him, or she saves him first. I forget, but I remember they back and forth, just them like saving each other and then being like, will they, won't they type bullshit.
I mean, I guess at least they boned. There's that.
There is that.
That was a bummer. But I mean, just make, who gives a fuck? Put Jon Snow on there. You guys are writing all this shit anyway. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, just happy ending would have been nice. But they're like, nah. And that's it.
That's another one they're bringing back. I guess they're bringing back. Have you seen the preview to the prequel? They're bringing back a prequel. But then also there's talks of Jon Snow and then what's her face? The daughter, the Stark daughter. What's her face? Oh, yes, they're gonna do. They're gonna be in another show that they're gonna do together.
The redhead or
no? What's her? It's been so long.
Arya.
I forgot her name. Arya. So it's gonna be Arya and Jon Snow. It's gonna be, or they're gonna be like the main characters. They're probably gonna bring everyone else back, and then somewhere in there, somewhere. But
see, they should have brought back Jason Momoa and just have him. He could have been the king.
That would. Hey, brought back Jon Snow. Can you imagine that ending?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
He can't even speak English. He's like, oh my God, whatever he's speaking.
What's this fuck? Yeah. Yeah. That show was fucked up too.
Yeah.
Just thinking when they poured the gold on that dude's head.
Oh my gosh, dude. You know what's crazy is I forget his fucking name.
Pedro?
Was it the Lannister? Who was what was the name of the in the very, very first season? You know, it was Ned Stark, King Joffrey's dad.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
the maybe?
Were they the Lannisters? Yeah, they were Lannisters, right?
No. Wait.
Yeah, they
King?
were Lannisters.
No, because
yeah, it was
her family's a Lannister married to this.
Well, Tyrion
guy.
Lannister, wasn't that Tyrion's brother?
No, the king?
Yeah, the original king that we first saw. Look him up. Anyways, that guy, I can't say that guy on the podcast. I gotta find his fucking name. Anyways, you know how it was Ned Stark, and then he was talking to his friend, and the king, and the king came down to see him. That guy, I'll find his name. He was Barney or Fred Flintstone in one of the Flintstone movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw him. I saw watching. It was on TV, and I was watching it.
Must have been like the second one then, because
it was definitely the second. Because the first one was John Goodman, right? It was the second one, and I remember watching it, going, "I know that guy. I can't think of where, but I know that fucking guy." And let me see, the Flintstones, Viva Rock Vegas.
Yeah,
and his name was Mark Addy. Mark Addy's the actor, and he's best known for Robert Baratheon.
Yeah.
So okay. I just thought that was really funny piece of trivia that you should know, is that he played Fred Flintstone.
Nice.
in Viva Rock Vegas. The Flintstones, Viva Rock Vegas.
That's so funny. That's totally one of those movies I've never seen, but I know it.
I remember when it came out. I saw the first one in theaters. I saw it at the drive-in.
Oh yeah, me too.
And then Barney Rubble was played by Stephen Baldwin.
Oh God, that's right. Back when he used to do stuff.
But in the John Goodman one, it was Rick Moranis.
That one is not great, but it was okay. Like we rewatched that again for some reason, like last year or something.
Same. I saw it.
Oh, weird.
Very recently. And
yeah.
I also saw the Viva Rock Vegas one too. But the original one had Rosie O'Donnell was Betty.
Yeah.
It was crazy ass cast.
Halle Berry was Kyle MacLachlan. Yeah, Halle Berry.
It's crazy.
I don't remember who Wilma was.
I know she was the girl from Big, but I don't know her name. Have you seen Big?
It's been a minute, but yeah, I really liked it.
It was the girl who had sex with the kid in Big.
Oh, gross.
You know what I'm talking about?
Dreams do come true. Yeah. I haven't seen it in so long. Well, it's so funny too with that kind of stuff, because I remember, like, I was a kid definitely when that movie came out, and that kind of stuff was like, I remember fantasizing about I remember being like a little kid, like 6 or 7, and like being like, oh, my girl. I remember one time I thought I was like fantasizing about having an older girlfriend, or I had a dream I had an older girlfriend, and she was so old, dude. She was like 13. She was like so much more mature than me. I remember like being like the little kid thing that was like amazing. And like, so seeing that like in Big or something, you kind of have like this view of it of like, yeah, like that's, well, okay. I mean, I guess he's technically a grown up body and all that stuff, even though he's got the brain of a, little kid, but
well, try doing the opposite. It would be bad. If it was a dude having sex with a little girl who had a grown up body. Yeah. There's something wrong with this guy right here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Very, very not good. Yeah. That was a weird fucking movie. Big. And I feel bad because I used that movie as a reference. One time I called this girl Big when I was young. I was in high school. I called her, oh yeah, you got Big. And everyone was like, oh my God. And I'm like, no, I mean like Tom Hanks Big. Like, like not big.
Like not you got fat. Tall.
I mean, yeah. Because as a kid, I used to always use Big as tall, but no, it's not. People didn't take it that way.
No, I could see that.
Yeah,
it's a little vague.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, that's that's a weird movie that like I feel like that's why I always like seeing that's one of the things that's at least kind of cool about the internet for sure is like there's a lot of people analyzing stuff, right? So then you see these lists of movies that like you said, like, yeah, you couldn't do this the other way, you know, and you see all these things like cracked.com used to have a lot of really good lists and stuff. There's one video of this guy just going off on how crazy the Gremlins movie is. And it's so good because you're just like, yeah, that movie is insane. Like if you think about any of it, and really terrible to the people in it. Like there's just like I don't know, like you'd have to watch that shit because it's just like, yeah, just all these things of like, you know, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, that's fun. And then you
Right.
go, oh no, that's actually terrible or something, or that'd be really crazy. Yeah.
I got one. The Faculty. You seen The Faculty?
Not since that came out, but
So
yeah.
that movie is basically about aliens to take over. Kind of we were talking about earlier, like aliens are taking over the planet
It's like,
slowly. A
yeah,
school specifically in this movie, and drugs save the day.
I didn't
Basically,
remember. Yeah.
remember that drugs like this kid would sell. One of the kids sold drugs, and in order to figure out if you were alien or not, you have to snort the drugs.
Oh yeah.
And then that's how they knew. Oh, everyone has to snort this. Everyone, and that was what saved. And then at the end, they spray the drugs on the bad guy and then the boss alien, and then everyone turns back to normal. It was like, damn, like I didn't realize that. Someone had to point that out to me. Like that movie's about drugs saving the day.
Yeah. Right.
Drugs saving
Again,
humans from aliens.
yeah. And it's, you know, they basically did that in I really like that movie too, Cabin in the Woods. Did you watch that?
I one time a long time ago.
Oh, that movie's so good. Or when I saw it, I really liked it. And that's the thing is like the person that can't be affected is the big stoner guy, because it's just like for whatever reason the stuff doesn't work on him or whatever.
Yeah, and that was like a typical Hollywood thing back in the 90s. Like it was like the guy who did the drugs was the winner. Or I
Yeah.
mean just I don't know. I can't think of any other
Sometimes,
examples,
yeah.
but I remember that was like a thing. That was a real thing. Like The Faculty is one I remember. I at least love that movie. Like when it came out, I used to watch it all the time. But I remember someone pointing that out. Like, oh my God, this is about drugs. What? No way. And I'm watching it going, what the fuck? There's other shit like that too, where it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ones, but I can't.
Well, you know, one thing that like I remember trying to show my nieces movies back when they were like around, you know, one was 9, the other one was like 7, you know, that kind of age, and being like trying to pick an 80s movie that's PG that doesn't have like boobs show up or some shit like that. It was like really hard. Or like I think Gremlins actually was one I tried to show them, right? And it was like
There's boobs in there,
it's kind of scary,
right?
and there's these people dying, and there's like shit getting, there's like these crazy alien things getting like blended, like when they go off on the dude's mom, and like she's just like putting him in the blender and then the microwave, and it gets really gross and stuff, and I was just like, this movie's PG. I was like, what?
Right.
You know, and
Well,
there's like a lot of stuff.
I think that's the thing too. Is like PG, 90s PG or 80s PG is different than PG now.
Yeah.
Like there's some things that they got away with back then that you couldn't now.
Yeah.
And even probably with PG-13, like back then PG-13 was like a lot of shit would get through. I remember when South Park, I used to watch South Park like in the first couple, maybe first 10 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like that was like a thing where like it was a big deal when they said shit. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Like they said shit and they said it as many times as they could. And there was a counter on the bottom corner that would count how many times they said shit throughout the episode. It was like 40 something. I don't know, I forget how much. But that was a big deal. Nowadays, everyone
no,
says
it was a
shit.
lot.
Everyone says shit. Like it's a normal thing now in shows. Now it's like people say the F word sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like on regular cable, right? Yeah. Like the I think asshole and shit have, if you can like prove it's part of, it's integral to whatever you're doing, you can do like one. And I don't know, like last time, I haven't looked into that in so long, but I remember when that change happened, and like some show, like some cop show, like the Shield or something, you know, did it. And yeah, it was like a big deal. And back in the 80s, they didn't have PG-13 for like half of the 80s or something. It wasn't a thing. So
I think part of the reason why we have PG-13, it was because of there was such a gray area. Oh, well, okay, so that was a video I remember watching too. It's like on YouTube. It was basically saying it was Spielberg or Lucas, one of those guys who they wanted to merchandise like Indiana Jones or something. And basically it was a thing where like, we need this movie to be PG so we can basically be able to sell merchandise to kids and stuff. It was something wrapped up in that kind of thing where PG-13 grew out of that because it wasn't quite a thing yet, and they had to like they didn't want to do PG-13 because there was like the audience. It was basically like they're trying to make money off certain audiences, and that's sort of how PG-13 came about. And that's, yeah. And again, that's just sort of what I remember about it. But it's like it was according to the video, which was, I think, like I said, I don't know if I said it, another cracked.com video, was attributed to these guys who just kind of wanted to make money. And so, whatever, the industry came up with another rating system, and that way you can slap a PG on a movie and you could avoid people who would normally go like, oh yeah, but there might be people fucking in this movie and it's like PG. So you have to like be like, oh, I don't know if I want to take my kids to this, and have a way to be like, no, this is like Disney now. This is like good. Your kid can go see this. And I mean, it made sense or whatever, but yeah, that was like, that's why some shit's so weird and wonky, and you can't quite know what you're gonna get when you watch an old 80s PG movie or whatever. You're just like, oh shit, that guy got shot in the head,
It's crazy we were alive during that era, because like that wasn't a thing before, like I mean, we were alive when that happened.
Yeah.
Like all this transition and shit. Another thing, this guy I work with, he has a podcast where he does like conspiracy theories, or so he does like, he basically talks about like a lot of range of things. But one of the things I saw in his podcast, what I never seen before, never in my life, he pointed out, have you ever seen, it's like this, have you seen the JFK massacre, like the video? Have you ever seen the video?
Like him getting shot?
Right. You ever seen it?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I never saw it through this guy's perspective. So one of the things that in the video he points out is the driver turns around and does something right as his head gets shot. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
What the fuck, bro? That's okay. And back then in the
like
60s,
shoots him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Point blank in the back, in the front, and the head. So
yeah.
And with that being said, like with this new information, or at least that I understand, that I just saw, what if, I mean, in the 60s, like there was no like that camera footage was rare. Like that, they got that. Like,
oh yeah.
Like back then it was like, they probably were like, no one's watching, no one's gonna know. Just, they paid this guy's gonna do it, and he did it like that. And he, I don't know what happened, like they over there, and everyone's going there over in that direction, and totally ignoring the driver.
Yeah.
Like that's like some real shit that you can get away with back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, how was it? I mean, we were live during this time. How was it back before cameras? Like, it was so much easier to rob a store, rob a bank. It was so much easier just to do these crazy little things. Nowadays, cameras are fucking everywhere. Cameras are in your face. You act up at the grocery store, cameras on your face. You lose your job the next day. You become a Karen. You turn into a Karen. Cameras are fucking everywhere. And it's crazy how back then, or even in our generation when we were young, that wasn't a thing. Cameras, it's just times are changing. Times are getting way more complex.
Yeah. I if anything, and again, I don't know. It's even hard to tell, I think, if he actually does shoot anybody.
Right.
But
he moves the second before his head gets blown off.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to go over that kind of stuff, because it was so like there's no, well, so for that, like there's no reason he should have been there. Like they shouldn't have been going that way on, like they would never do that now. Like the way it was just like the way that they drove through and all these open areas, like anyone could just fucking
in a convertible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all that shit's like, I think so anyway, yeah, like that's really crazy. And like you said, I think I kind of agree that like whoever did that, whoever you want to believe did it, is like they weren't probably expecting um you know that film. But it always, it's funny because it reminds me of this Bill Hicks, the comedian. He had a joke where he was like, he was basically saying something about becoming the president, and and how like you don't run, the president's like a sham or something, that kind of thing. And he's like, they just, he's like, his joke is something about they'll take you in a back room and show you film of the Kennedy assassination from some angle you've never seen before that they have, and just be like, like, any questions, like,
Yeah.
you get fucking murdered.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like that kind of stuff, so blatant. Anyway, when you think now too, yeah, of all the cameras and stuff, at least the flip side of it is now we've got like cops with cameras on them, right, and shit like that, where it's like, oh really, this shit happened, this shooting just happened, and all you guys turned your cameras off. How bizarre is that? But you get to, there's a lot more of that stuff at least coming out, especially in the last few years, where you get to see a lot of abuse of power and that kind of stuff. So as far as like governments go, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, even like to help people, like I saw a video recently where this guy, this cop pulls over this guy and he plants drugs on the guy.
Yeah.
But and he turned off his body cam and turned it on. But I guess I don't know if they didn't tell him or he just didn't know that I guess when you turn off a body cam for a cop, there's a 5-second delay. So like he thought it was instant, but there's like a 5-second delay each time. So like you press it, it's 5 seconds, and you turn it on, it's a 5-second delay. So it's like he was not, he hit it and then started putting the drugs in his shoe or something, or
Jesus Christ.
And they
Yeah.
fucking caught him on camera. And even then, like he was pulling out the drugs. Well, what's this to the guy? And the guy was doing the typical, like, that's not mine. Like, like it made him look guilty. He looked like he was saying the typical things that you would, what you see people say when it's, I don't know whose that is. It's not mine.
Right.
He was doing all that, and the cops like, oh no, whose is it? Playing that whole game, and it was like, whoa, dude, whoa. And then they had to go, poor like whoever had to clean up his mess, they had to go fucking back, and everyone he arrested, every incident he was involved in, they had to go back, reanalyze it, make sure there was no more, there couldn't have been a foul play, which is reasonable. Like they have to do that, I would assume.
Couldn't have been like the first time he just decided to do that.
Yeah, they had to go through everything he's ever been through, like every case he's been involved in, and like reevaluate it, figure out if there was any corruption there, and that was crazy. But I'm sure that happens all the time. No,
Yeah.
like, I mean, who knows? Like, because there's even like a situation that happened here in where I live. It happened right after George Floyd, and it was something similar. Not similar. It was similar to what we're talking about, the body cam stuff, where he did something to where he was like going like this and like, kind of like covering it, and then the way he was doing it, you couldn't hear what they were saying, like on purpose. And that officer got completely fired and probably had to move out of state or something, which is and it was something that was like, basically this kid he was black, and he was hanging out in front of one of these apartments that I deliver pizzas to all the time, and it's like get buzzed in, and he was just waiting out there for his buddy to show up. They were gonna hang out, and the cop was just walked up to him, what are you doing out here? And that started a whole incident where it's like he was just waiting for his friends to show up, and this cop was like, you don't belong, go home. And it turned into this incident. It was crazy. But it was because it was a black guy and a white cop. I think that's why it got blown out of proportion, because of the George Floyd situation. It just happened the weekend prior, and then that's what, I don't know if you heard about the riots in San Diego. Like they fucking tore shit up. They fucking tore down. They burnt down 2 banks.
Dang.
They went into grocery stores, started stealing shit, and it was all because of George Floyd mainly, but also because of that incident. That was like, people were upset about that, because at the time it hadn't been solved. They weren't aware of him doing all this bullshit, and so I mean, body cams or cameras in general, they're just, I feel like it's just starting problems for people, but it is serving justice. Hopefully it's showing the truth, because a lot of people like to hide the truth for centuries, and now we're starting to like actually see the truth.
Yeah. Well, and you know, that's what's good about, you know, cops having body cameras is like these people are supposed to be, you know, the ones you call for protection and all this other shit and stuff. But like if they're just sitting there, you know, doing some fucked up shit, they're not, and they're like breaking your rights for one thing, your constitutional rights or whatever, because they just feel like it. Well, fuck them. You know what I mean? Like they're just cops. Like they're not even, there's nothing special about them. They're not like, you don't have to go to college. You don't have to like spend years and years to become one or something. It's like you have to just be basically, I mean, I don't know. It's very tough. And I'm not saying there aren't any like people who do a good job at being a cop, but like the amount of rampant like abuse of power like that goes through, especially with like cops and their and like the unions and stuff too. Dude, the unions are so fucking powerful. You know, like they run towns, you know, especially like, you know, in places like Bakersfield, right? With like fucking Donnie Youngblood as the fucking sheriff or whatever fucking, who the what the why do we have sheriffs? Like who's the what, can we get rid of that? Like we're not the Wild West or whatever. Anyway, like that kind of shit was so corrupt and is still so corrupt. And they have one of the highest like cops shooting people rates in the fucking country. And there it's one of those places that like you don't fuck with the cops because they'll fucking kill you or they'll beat you. You'll go to jail. It's like so like it's abuse of power, and people like Donnie Youngblood are huge ass fucking liars. They keep getting fucking reelected. There's tons of corruption. They've been investigated by the FBI like I don't know how many times. And like nothing ever seems to fucking happen. So whenever there's actual body cam footage, yeah, people are gonna flip out and have riots and stuff because it's like it's like there's nothing. Okay, like who do you call besides a cop for help? Or you know, who are you going to put your trust in to, especially when you see statistics or you see people you maybe even know, you might be part of communities where cops are just like really racist to or something, or it just seems like there's a disproportionate amount of like people not getting helped because of, like, I think in Bakersfield it was like you know, it's disproportionate the amount of people that got shot. It was a lot of Hispanic people, a lot of Mexican people, basically, who just get murdered for running a stop sign or something, you know, just shootouts. And that shit's like insane. And I always just, that's how I grew. It's almost like when you grow up in places like that and you just go like, yeah, dude, you don't fuck with the cops. That's not normal. Like that shouldn't be normal. And you
Right.
go to other places where it's not that bad, even though I think in a lot of places it is pretty bad still. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't be afraid of them. Like,
Right, and that's something that I go through a lot. I get all because just probably being in Bakersfield like that, like out being out here. Like I tell friends stories like out here about things that happened to me here. Like one time I was getting, I was it was the day I went to go get um, my my wife her engagement ring. I wanted to go to Sam's Club. It was the cheapest place, but the Sam's Club, there's only one Sam's Club in San Diego. Um, uh, and it was I just quit. I just walked out. So I'm like, I can't go there. So I went to Marietta, which is like
hmm,
45 minutes up the road, up the highway, the freeway. And I went up and there's like a border station. And at that border station, I got pulled over. And like basically pulled me over and he goes, hey, I need to check your, basically the first thing he said, I need to search your car. And I was like, why? And he goes, I just got to do it. It's going to be a lot easier if you just don't put up a fight.
that's bullshit.
And right, but I just said, you know what, fuck it. I said, all right, and so I stood there and I walked it, and because
You
of
could
how
get
I was,
shot.
because I was raised in Bakersfield. Like I'm not gonna fuck. I'm just gonna go with the flow. I'm not gonna start any waves. I'm not gonna start
Yeah.
any problems. So I did, and I stood there and I just watched him, and I just watched his partner go through my car, and I was making sure, like, fuck, dude. I was trying to watch and see if he was trying to plant something because I had to come back down the same highway across that on the other side to come back home. And I was like, fuck, they're gonna pull me over again. And they planted something. I was worried about that.
Yeah.
And so but nothing, everything was cool. But when I was standing there watching him do it, the guy who originally, he was this Mexican border patrol cop, which is crazy. And he
Yeah.
was just standing there next to me and he asked me what I was doing. just like trying to talk to me. And I was like, fuck. I was like, I told him I'm buying a wedding ring, I'm buying an engagement ring. And he's like, you're getting married, don't do it. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And he goes, don't do it. Don't do it. And I go, are you married? And he goes, I've been married for 40 years. I go, oh, okay. Or like 30 years, something like that. I'm like, okay. And he's
Weird.
like, he just wanted to just, yeah. And I just like sat there and just like simple 1-word answers, like just, you know. And he was like, he was like, oh, you're probably marrying her because you don't want anyone else to have her, huh? And I was like, something like that. I just like just keep it short. And then finally, like, all right, he's writing stuff down in a journal, and I'm looking at him kind of like trying to see what he's writing. And he's like, oh, I write every single situation that happens, every single stop I do, I write it. I'm like, okay, I didn't ask you. I'm just looking, like, you know, I'm just like minding my business. But it was the most awkwardest fucking. Many other stories. There was another time when my mom gave me a plant, and it was like a bamboo plant, a little bamboo plant in a little pot. And I had it in the back, and I visiting my mom in Bakersfield, and I had all these bags, you know, like my clothes and stuff. And I pushed them all against the plant so it wouldn't move in the back of my SUV. And I'm driving, and this police car comes up next to me on this side. I'm like in the middle lane of the highway. I'm like on the Grapevine going south.
Yeah.
And he comes to this side, and then he speeds up, and then he fucking slows down. And then he pulls me over. Then he gets behind me and pulls me over. And I pull over, and he's like, hey, and while he's talking to me, his partner's behind the car. And I'm like, what? And like, I kind of goes to the passenger side, like in the back passenger side. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, hey, you know, we just wanted to make sure everything's good. You have any drugs on you? And I'm like, no. I didn't realize the plant, but they thought I had a marijuana plant. It was like before marijuana was legal in California. And they're like, you have no drugs in you. But no. And he's like, what about that plant in the back? I go, it's a bamboo plant. You want to look at it? And they go, yeah, pop it. And when they pop the trunk, right? And they go, oh, okay, you're good. They start talking. You're a college student? Yeah, I go, I'm a college student. Okay. I get home, my bag was opened. Like my fucking duffel bag was opened, wide open. They opened my bag.
Dang.
I was like, fuck, dude. This is like, and it's just, I'm not trying to start ways, but the cops that I run into, they're fucking, something's up. They're scandalous. Like they're fucking corrupt as fuck. One time I was walking with flip-flops to the liquor store to get a beer before 2:00. Yeah. Like it was like 1:46, and I was like in shorts and a flip-flop. It was kind of cold out, but they pulled me over because I was like, they said I was suspicious because I had shorts and flip-flops on. I'm like, what?
Yeah. There's like, it's just whatever they say. They could just say whatever they want.
Right. And I'm just going with the flow. And luckily I've not got shot yet. But my thing is like, imagine, you know, going with the flow and I'm getting fucked over. Like, what if they plan something on me? What if they fucking get me for the wrong, you know, what if I'm one of there's probably people like that in prison all the time who are just like trying to stay away or stay out of the fucking system, and they get stuck in the system. And
yeah,
I get nervous about that all the time, dude, all the time, just because of corrupt cops.
Oh, there's so many stories like that. You see people like, yeah, they just lose years of their fucking life to some bullshit. And maybe they're even innocent. And somehow the cops are just like, nah, like whatever. And then the judge is like, nah, you're not innocent. And it's just, there was a case I was just looking at, and I'd have to pull it up, but basically it was a Supreme Court case where the guy wasn't, he had proof that he was innocent. This is how fucking crazy it is too. It's really bizarre. He had proof that he was innocent. And he had like a court appointed public defender basically, who never brought the evidence up, and he gets convicted of being guilty. Well, he appealed it, being like, oh no, like there's evidence that I'm not the guy that did this. Like, that's not me. And my attorney didn't do a good job. And they go, oh, okay, so you can do that. You should be able to do it more than once. There's not really a rule that says you can't do that more than once. And so basically he got another attorney though, who did the same thing. And he's like, and he's like, hey, use the evidence that says I'm not the guy, like whatever, like, let me find this thing. And the other attorney did the same thing where he's like, he didn't do it. He brought it. So 2 times this comes up in court, and this guy basically gets sentenced to be guilty. And he's like, so he appeals it for a 3rd time. It goes to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court basically says, no, you can't do that anymore. This is their reasoning though. This is part of why it's bullshit.
and Clarence Thomas, I guess, wrote the opinion on it or whatever. They basically go like, you can't appeal this anymore because it's your fault that you didn't get proven innocent. It's like we gave you a fucking public defender guy, and so yeah, like that was our obligation. That's the only obligation you get, because in the Constitution it says you have the right to an attorney, basically, right, and a fair trial and all that shit. Well, so the judges in the Supreme Court were basically like, yeah, so that happened once. You appealed it and you were able to get someone else to look at it, which is basically him doing it still, I guess, himself. Like, this guy's basically in jail. Like, he's waiting, he's not free at all this whole time. And so they I guess they kept expecting him to just keep trying to get attorneys or something. But they basically, so they shut him down, being like, okay, so we're not going to appeal this again because you had 2 chances. That's on the second one. That's on you. You fucked up, even though it's like, I'm not my attorney, like, or whatever. Like, I would have put the evidence out there. And so Clarence Thomas is like, no, you don't get the appeal. You don't get to appeal this anymore. You got 2 chances. Fuck you, or whatever. And it's just like a really rare case of some guy who basically is innocent, who, God, I feel like
Christ.
It was, oh no, not that one. Ooh, not that one. There's a bunch of really fucking crazy cases. Anyway, there's a lot of things, right? Like you could have a shitty judge, like say you have some very minor jaywalking or something. You could have a really shitty cop that arrests you for it, and then they say like, oh, like you try to resisting. They like if they want to tack on stuff, it's kind of your word against them in a lot of instances. And like you said, it's like, oh, that's not mine. Oh, whatever. And like, people say that shit all the time. And so cops can kind of just keep doing that shit. And if a judge is going to be on sort of the cop side, apparently a lot of judges are really tied to law enforcement. Mm-hmm. It's a kind of a thing that you almost expect, because you go, oh yeah, like someone who really knows the law, maybe they also had some law enforcement in their career or some shit like that. But it sort of just kind of works hand in hand with them kind of protecting each other and like believing each other, and sort of like people who are not law, like criminals, like, and yeah, like you said, you jaywalked, you're technically like a criminal now. It's like you kind of don't get the benefit of the doubt as much as you think you would, I guess. Is sort of a thing that happens all the time, which again, like with body cams and stuff, that shit just kind of helps, but it still, like, cops don't lose their jobs half the time, even for killing people.
Right. That's something that's very big too. Or that they get up until recently, I feel like they would get the minimum amount of punishment. Like since the George Floyd thing, that's like you see that a lot more now. Like cops will be like, okay, but one of the things that I've yet to see is like, except for the George Floyd, cops getting pressed charges. Usually they fucking like do something bad and they get fired, or they get 10 like a month without pay or whatever,
or they get fired with like a benefits package or with pay, and it's like,
but rarely do you see criminal charges. Like there's that one where that lady cop, she just went into this guy's home and shot him. Remember that one?
And she thought she was in her apartment.
Yeah, that was like, I have yet to heard anything about that. Like, did she go to jail? I don't think she did. Even then, that night, they let her go that night. I remember that was like the ridiculous part. Was like,
I think she did go to jail.
Not that night though.
No.
Like days later, we got to arrest you. It was like that night. If I would have done that to somebody, I would have been in jail that night.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me sleep in my own bed for like the next 3 days. Well, we'll look into it. Just go to bed, have a good night. Like, fuck no.
Yeah. And like they do that shit too, where like there's been cases where people are like, oh, I thought it was my taser. There was like one I saw, it was like a video of a guy who straight up was, wrestling with this I guess he was like a black man. It wasn't like a kid, he wasn't underage, but he was like he was like in his 20s or something. And this cop, it was sort of recently, like in the last 2 months or something like that. And there's totally this video where he's on the kid's back or whatever, and I I feel like I keep saying words like kid or like half the time or whatever. I'm not like full of statistics, and like I just like know, I just remember I see shit and I don't quite remember all the names and all that kind of shit. So this all is very vague sounding. But yeah, this video is basically this cop. He's on this this black dude's back on the ground. He's got him on the ground. The guy's got his hands up behind his back, and the cop's like on him. And if you see it, it's like so the camera footage is from this partner, and and you can see this whole thing. And the guy takes his gun out and shoots this dude multiple times, and then looks back and like sees the camera thing and goes, oh, and then he goes for his taser and he pulls his taser out. And so his whole thing was like, oh, I thought I had my taser. And it's like, why? Like this, like you could just put your like, and it wasn't like this huge struggle or anything. Like this guy was like on his fucking face and just like this cop's like on him and like he's got him. And then still just is like fucking like, I don't know, and just like not satisfied. And then he just goes like, and just he goes like boom, boom, boom. Like you see him, like it looks like you're straight trying to shoot this guy. It doesn't look like you're trying to tase him or anything. Like you're not like sticking it on him. It's like you're shooting him.
Right. That's
it's
wild.
crazy.
Jesus
it's just
Christ.
It's not even like unusual. Like that stuff just seems to happen all the fucking time.
It's America, man. That's how we are. That's how we live.
Yeah.
That's how we live on the day to day. It's crazy.
They have a lot of power, and I always feel really it's always bizarre when I see people who are like super like they're just all about their rights, and they're just like fucking like, oh yeah, don't tread on me, don't take my rights, blah blah blah. But then they're also like super big supporters of police who like don't give a shit, like, because usually a lot of times these people that I know or I've seen on like Facebook or something, they're also really big gun advocates, and I'm like, it never matters if you have a legal gun. If a cop wants to fucking shoot you, they can shoot you, and they can just say that they felt threatened, and that is it. You are legally dead. It doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
And so I'm like, you should never feel safe because you legally have a gun, and like you think a cop's just going to be like, oh, wait, hold on, did you get that legally? I want to make sure because I'm a cop and I'm here, and that means there's a problem or something. Or if you're just driving around and you have it, you're in a store and you have it on your hip, like if you're in like an open carry state, and shit like that, it doesn't take anything for cops to be fucking like,
yeah. And that goes down to that good cop, bad cop shit, or like, there's always bad of everything. There's bad of every type of person, black, white, cop, not cop. There's bad people. I'm sure there's a lot of good cops too, but like I saw a video which you're saying kind of goes with what you're saying, is where this black guy is in like full body armor, and like he's driving from a gun range, or he's driving to a gun range to train people how to shoot guns. So he has guns all in his trunk and shit. And he gets pulled over, and the cops are asking him like, why are you wearing this body armor? We're just trying to figure out what's going on. And he straight up tells them like, hey, I'm going to the fucking gun range to train people how to shoot weapons. I have guns that are loaded in the trunk right now. I have permits for everything. And the cops are like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Like everything like goes smoothly. Like it shows, and the guy's filming, and I'm sure the cops are, but did you see the guy's side of the video? And they're super cool with them. Like it's like a calm situation, which is like, what's supposed to happen.
right.
What's supposed, even though it seems like, I mean, I'm sure if he would have ran into a bad cop, that cop would have been like, nope, fucking fuck you, you're going to jail, or we're pulling the gun on you because you just told us you have weapons that are loaded in the trunk. But they were all super cool. They're like, yeah, dude, yeah, we'll check you out. We'll check out your permits, all you need to get, and we'll let you go on your way. Like, we just want to figure out, you had body, like, I forget what he did initially that had him pulled over. We had done something, probably a traffic violation or something, that he got pulled over originally, and then they ended up seeing all the body armor, and I guess maybe he had like a certain weapon in the back, or I don't know what the fuck he had out. But he was talking, it was just a crazy situation that could have went wrong in a second. But I mean, he got those good guys, and he got those good ones, and it sucks that a couple, it could be two bad ones, and they make all the 10 good ones look bad. It's just bad. It's just sad how we, and maybe it's just media, we see all the bad ones, and maybe there's a ton of good things that happen with these. I see videos of cops playing basketball with the youth, and then there's this one video I saw where like this little black kid is like playing basketball in his front yard, and like a cop drives by, and he hides it's like fucking sad that fucking kids are like are kids and they're already going like, fuck, I'm scared of the police.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's like stuff like that all the time. You see that in the media, but I think it's just the media, man. Because one of the things I was taught when I was a kid is that like in like fucking France or some shit back in the day, they used to find big women very attractive. Like the bigger the woman, the more that girl was trying to get fucked. Like you know what I mean? Like they were trying to fuck
Yeah.
her. The bigger she was, the like that, the thinner you were as a woman, the less attractive you were. And so because it was like the bigger woman, you had more food, you had more money. But it's like now with everything that's going on, like look at our like we look at magazines, we look at like I think we're all trained to like believe beauty is a certain thing, you know, and it's just media. Media trains you to be. It changes your opinion, I think.
I think that's true in some ways, for sure. But I definitely think that that stuff with like cops and everything is like it's way too common for how many cops like don't do stuff like that or whatever, or like how many stories you don't see.
Well, I mean,
there's too many like there's still too many like, you know, basically just reports of what's going on where people are like so even when people do something that like I feel like in the last couple of years seeing like a bunch of like videos and stuff coming out of people just taking shit on their cell phone, right? It's like that's not media, you know what I mean? There's no like you can just sit here and like YouTube a bunch of shit like this where it's like, oh, here's a guy who is running away from the cops and he's just getting shot. Here's the cops like, you know, rolling up on people, never asking any questions, you know, and just like beating the shit out of them, you know. Or here's, you know, like you know, you saw that with like the Rodney King beating and stuff, you know, this kind of shit where it was like that was like was there a lot of like media involvement in the Rodney King beating? Was there a lot of like opinions and talking heads and, you know, all this other shit with that, right? But like if you just kind of see these videos of like basically police brutality, especially like you look at Rodney King, man, you know how many like dudes were out there like beating that fool? It was like
I
this
don't.
guy
There's
who's unarmed.
more than three, more than two.
Oh, definitely more than three. Yeah,
Oh
I want to
wow.
say like eight, maybe.
No
It
way.
was like a lot. And like god, like I know like my friend's brother. So I guess where I was going at first was like some of these people might be intoxicated. They might illegally have something like marijuana or something, or they might be, you know, running from the cops after they just stole something from like a liquor store or something. Like there's so many like cases that are like these guys aren't like bank robbers, or they're not like child murderers or they're not like doing these things, or they're not even trying to kill a cop or something, and the cops are killing them. But it's like, aren't you guys supposed to like use non-lethal force to get people to, when like here's a situation of like you know, look at the Eric Garner case, right, with the dude who was like just selling like loose cigarettes
Mm.
in New York City, right? And the guy's just sitting there going like, I'm not resisting, I'm not resisting, I'm not resisting, and he's dead now. You know, like there's no media with that, there's no like spin. It's just like, look at these group of people killing this guy or allowing someone to kill this guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. And like I think like we said, there's a lot of people like that who I think maybe more now are actually getting let go or losing jobs or getting fined. Most of them aren't going to jail. Most of these people who literally have killed someone for like some minor infraction like that, like it was it illegal that he was selling those cigarettes? Yes. He's
Right.
fucking dead. You
Right.
know,
Right.
like
Right. Is that a that's not a good punishment. I mean, just because
no.
of cigarettes, yeah. And I think they said they had a gun on him, and he never ended up not having a gun on him or something like that. They
And
thought he had a gun on him.
And even if he did, or you know how many times that shit's a cell phone and they said they thought it was a gun and they shot the person? Like that
Right.
shit's not unusual.
Yeah.
That's the other problem with that. It's like there's a lot of bad apples, apparently.
Yeah.
And I guess like, you know, like, yeah, again, they're not obviously not every cop out there is literally, shooting people who are unarmed, or so, because like some of that stuff too is right. Like people are actually doing criminal activities. I'm on the side of like, even if someone is breaking the law, because I think there's a lot of a big broad view of laws that get broken, right? Like like I said, jaywalking earlier or something, right? And if cops just think you're doing something suspicious at all, they like, there was some one where one of those stories where some kid had a bag of Skittles and the cops said they thought it was a gun. And he was walking home, like, and it's so scary watching some of these things where you're like, you see these like cops, these body cam footage. Of course, it gets released like months later or some bullshit. Usually it's never around the same exact time. It's like, because there's all this investigations and all this shit. And then you watch it and you go like, this kid's like minding his own fucking business. And the cop's like, hey, where are you going? And he's like, home. And they're like, hey, stop, I want to talk to you. And he's like, I don't want to talk to you. Hey, stop. And it's like, as soon as you hear someone say some shit like that, like, I don't want to talk to you, you go like, fuck, dude. Like, I don't know if it's just me again, like we grew up in Bakersfield or something, but it's like, you can't say that, because they don't just go, oh, okay, bye. Usually it's like, now you have a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like
even
a
if
gang. It's like
even
gang
if they
mentality.
let you go. Yeah. I gotta, my old boss is like, he's in this group called the Bandidos, and they're a biker gang, basically, started out in Texas back in the 60s or something. And they're all over the place. They're like Hell's Angels, basically, that kind of shit. But his shit's always like, nah, man, the cops are the biggest gang. They're the biggest gang in this country. And I used to kind of be more like, okay, but you are literally in a biker gang. Like, you're all over the country doing all sorts of shit. And or not him literally, but like that, the group is, or whatever. And not all of them are bad guys either. A lot of them do nice things and help people and all those sorts of shit, And I think some of these groups like that learned that there's a lot of good things that they can do too, as far as image goes, or like helping their community. And that's what they just wanted. They want to do that. And so they, but he thinks, he's like, no, the cops are like the biggest gang. They get all the support. They get all the, the judges. They're always getting the benefit of the doubt. They're always getting like off on easy technicalities of just being like, okay, you said you de-escalated the situation. Okay, good. That's all we needed to know, because you're the cop, right? Like, you're trained to do that. You said you did it. You had no other choice. Okay. That guy had a record and he's dead now. Nah, no one gives a shit.
I've heard that before, man. I've heard that.
It should be Strickland v. Washington. So I heard this on a podcast, and so like looking up the Wikipedia page is like way more technical sounding. It's all more like harder to read. But basically the court had to make the decision of like, when are you just guilty? Basically this guy got executed, and apparently just had evidence that he was innocent, and apparently was, but like his counsel never presented the evidence 2 times, and then they didn't allow him to get a third thing. They're like, no, because and so one of the issues with the ruling is like, the Constitution says that you get a right to fair counsel and stuff. It's like the Sixth Amendment or something. But the court system, the judges basically, which is their job. They're judges. They get to judge stuff. I guess that's the thing, right? But they're like, they basically set just a limit on that. They're like, no, you already had 2 chances.
Is that a real thing? There's a limit?
Yeah. No, I mean, they just made it up.
Oh my God.
It's one of the things about the Supreme Court, for example, that's like, a thing that really, I think, is starting to become more looked into, as far as like how judges get to be so powerful with their rulings and stuff, or like what it takes to be a judge, you know. And I think a lot of stuff's come out recently with Clarence Thomas's wife, Ginny Thomas, and how many times Clarence Thomas has not recused himself from being a judge on some case that she is directly involved in. And it's been like numerous fucking times. And he's never excused himself from any of these cases, which you think would be like a conflict of interest, right? But like for 30 years, there's been multiple times where it's like, nah, like I'm just, and some of it's been, you know, like when it came to like overturning the election or something, right? The last thing with Trump or whatever, she was part of some committee or had some really big tie to some committee that was trying to sue to overturn the election, and he didn't recuse himself from the case, and he was one of the, it was like him and one other judge or something agreed with the people who are suing, saying this, you know, the election's false and we need to like, you know, overturn the results and blah blah blah. And all the other judges were like, you guys have like no evidence, basically. And was like, because they didn't really, it was just like some bullshit. Right. But yeah, like he's just showed a bunch of clear, like this is just one example, he's just showed a bunch of clear occasions where he's very biased. And so these judges, like they just, but he's still a judge, he can't get fired, he's like appointed for life. Like you technically can get rid of him, but it's like really unprecedented, it's really hard.
Right.
So I mean, part of the jobs that judges have though is like they look at this stuff like the Constitution and they make a determination of like, does this, you know, like they're looking at a document that's from the fucking 1700s, right? So like not everything that's going to be modern day is going to be in the fucking document, you know, like it's just not. Right. Like, so they have to like try to like what do you call it, they have to basically
make up their own like,
yeah,
like common sense that sometimes doesn't make sense to everybody.
Yeah, you might, you
only 3 times you can defend yourself, that's crazy.
Yeah, like it's like, oh, we don't want to deal with this anymore, so we're just going to say like, you know, or whatever the reasoning is. It's like, because there's no limit, so they just arbitrarily made up one, even though the case seems kind of fucked up, because it's like this guy's saying like, this evidence isn't getting brought up ever, and it exists, but it needs to go to court, like it's here, like, you know, but like they're like, yeah, no, we don't want to, you know, that's not what we're ruling on, we're ruling on the fact that you asking a third time, and like that's too much whatever. So, you know, that's what they get to do. That's part of that's why they get to judge things, you know, and they're supposed to be like these top legal minds, but a lot of times it's just politics and bullshit and just like, you know, just
human error
is a thing. There's a lot
last time, human error, like all those murder cases. We're talking about serial killers and how,
yeah.
Oh, like I forgot what we were talking about, but we're talking about the Night Stalker, the original Night Stalker. Anyways, go ahead.
Which one? Not a. Okay, well, let me see if I have this thing pulled up still. This is another thing. So this was a thing I was reading from Judge Alito, who was the. Oh yeah, it was on Twitter. I fucking already got rid of it. Oh no, is that it? I was reading this article on Twitter. Basically, Judge Alito is the guy that came up with that decision that they just did to overturn Roe v. Wade or whatever. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they leaked that got leaked like a month and a half or something before they actually did the thing. And none of his opinion really changed or whatever. But he, you know, he had all these reasonings in there about why he wanted to do that. And he's right now going on a speaking tour, basically talking about that shit. And some of the shit he's saying is basically like, this country's getting too far away from religion and we need to bring some of that back and blah, 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 blah. And he's making these points about religion. He's not talking about, and of course, he's not saying even what religion he's talking about. It's like, you saying religion, like, you know how many religions there are? I mean, we obviously all know you're talking about Christianity, right? This is America kind of thing. You're who you are and all this stuff. Like, he's a Christian and whatever. And that's not law. Like, you know, like you're supposed to be a judge and you're supposed to be making decisions based on legalities and the Constitution and like this like the like people's rights to privacy and stuff, like things that are like, that's what you're judging. Like you're supposed to be the whole separation of church and state. Like you can be religious, you can like you can, you know, your faith is like part of your, you know, who you are and all that kind of stuff, but you're not supposed to be like, this isn't in the Bible, so this isn't legal now, you know, and that kind of shit.
Right.
That's bullshit. But you get enough people to agree with you, then that's
doesn't matter.
That's all that comes down to.
So that was it. That was the reasoning behind Roe versus Wade, is that we're straying away from religion.
That is one of the things he said.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
So it's a very big part of his thing, though, is this idea, which has been one of the big fights about Roe versus Wade ever since it's been a thing, is just, you know, this religious aspect. And is it murder? Is it, and because, you know, like, hey, you know, Jewish people don't think abortion is a sin. They think it's actually, like it's, you don't actually have a soul until you're even born. So if you're not born yet, and you know, at any stage, right, any stage, you're not like a real person religiously, because you have no soul. Like that's what they believe. So like this isn't written by a religious person, or this isn't written by a Jewish person. This is like definitely you know, based off of his own viewpoints and things that he said, a very Christian viewpoint. So when people try to lump in religion a lot around this conversation, they're just talking about Christianity. They're not talking about Muslims, or they're not talking about Buddhists or whatever the fuck. And so someone brought that up recently. I saw that like Jewish people actually have no problems, and I shouldn't say they don't have any problems with it, but religiously speaking, in the only capacity I know about what I've heard so far, like, and I guess I shouldn't say all Jewish people, but Jewish people in general, Judaism, it's like, you don't even have a soul. So it's like whatever you're killing it's soulless. It's not a human. It's not a person. It has nothing to do with God at this point or whatever. I don't know if that makes any more sense than anything else, but you know what I mean? It's like people who are like, well, no, abortion's not that big of a deal. That thing's not real to us or whatever, you know. It's like, it's not going to hell, it's not going to heaven or whatever. It's like,
I grew up going to Catholic school, and I'm not really, you know, religious anymore, but one of the things I was always taught from like the guy preaching to me, or the priest talking, one of the things I remember him, it stuck in my mind. He would say that using a condom is a sin because you're preventing life. So it's like, you know, sex is only used for procreation. Other than that, you're just sinning. Like, what's the point? But it's like crazy how everyone has their own line. Like you're saying, like the Judaism line is not until the baby comes out the womb. That's when it becomes a person.
Apparently,
according to this priest that I listened to, even a blob of sperm is considered a potential life and should be sacred. It's like okay, everyone's got their line.
Stupid is that too? Like,
it's
like, have you ever had a wet dream or something?
You just wasted a potential life.
If you died right after that, you're going to hell. Like, you know how much, you know, if you didn't confess or whatever. That's such bullshit, dude. Those are just scare tactics that they like tell young kids.
Situation, yeah, oh yeah, definitely, and like those situations where like you're just like you just jizz in your pants, and it's just like
if like a little bit comes out,
you're a
like
sinner.
Yeah, and it's like, wait, doesn't, like, because that stuff always clashes with my idea of like, you know, God being like having, you know, if there's like can you just be like, God works in mysterious ways or something, and that's something that God's got something to do with this, right? I don't know what's going on. So like, you know, you can't like, I feel like there's always an answer for something whenever you get real down. Like if you get someone who's like really religious, especially like a real, you know, and yeah, growing up in Bakersfield, there's tons of really religious people, tons of evangelicals and all sorts of shit, tons of Catholics. My mom was, you know, she grew up Catholic in the Valley and shit.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah. And
I grew up Catholic in the Valley.
Yeah. It's yeah, there's a lot of Catholics. Well, you know, in Bakersfield too, right? What was that school? Garza? No, Garces.
Garces. Yeah, Garces. Yeah, private school,
The
right?
private
I
fucking,
know a
yeah,
lot of people that went there.
yeah. Religious school, yeah. You know, that was like that was a big deal. And they get a lot of money at school. Anyway, yeah, the whole thing about like, well, God can work in mysterious ways. So that's like there's a blanket statement that covers like everything. Or like there's a divine plan that covers everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then for some reason, people, yeah, really want to focus on some shit that's like basically there to control you, I think, where it's like, yeah, you can't have sex at all. You can't jizz, you can't use a condom. You know, it's not you got to roll the dice where it's like, okay, so you can't use a condom, right? But like, so is it God's fault like if you didn't get someone pregnant and you didn't use a condom? And is that sin now? You know, like you weren't trying to have a kid or whatever, let's say. And it just didn't work. But then people just go, oh, well, then God didn't want it to work. And you just go like, what the
Right.
what? Like, well, who the fuck? Why or whatever? Why does God care about my dick? You know, like,
Right.
it's just seems very out of his, you know, he just would not give a shit, or you know, whatever you want to call God. Yeah. So that shit always just boggles my mind. Just people just want to use shit like that to just say whatever they feel like. Have a reason that doesn't, you know, you can't explain something. There you go. God did it or whatever.
Kind
And
of
if it's really good shit, God did it. And if it's really bad shit, the devil did it. But they never think like, but the devil's the one you always have to watch out for. It's very tricksy, this devil. It's always trying to trick you. And so, but for some reason you can never, if you just think it's good, then that's obviously God. And it can never be the devil tricking you into like a bigger plan or something, or some sort of like thing down the road. It's always just like, oh, like God made me win this football game or something. It's like, how do you know the devil didn't make you win that football game? Just because he wanted you to win or whatever, you know? And it's like, you don't know. It's
from that.
You just, yeah, people are just people, whatever.
I try to refrain from that talk because I was raised in that talk, like God bless, and you know, like may God be with you. You know, I was raised saying that, like, but saying it as like a greeting or like a goodbye.
Yeah.
I had to stop saying because I felt like, yeah, it just kind of like setting people up for failure. Because like, what if I'm like, God bless you, and then they go get like murdered by a fucking serial killer? It's like, I just like it didn't work. Like what I said did not help them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's a lot of guilt to have, that maybe you had something to do with that, or you could
Right.
have saved them or anything.
Right.
And I think Catholic guilt's a real thing.
Catholic guilt is a real thing
because there's so much to be guilty about all the time in Catholicism.
Kind of off the subject, definitely kind of off the subject. I remember in health class freshman year, we were encouraged to give hand job. Girls were encouraged to give hand jobs because you don't get pregnant doing hand jobs, like for sex. Like
okay. Yeah, if you don't want to get pregnant, there you go.
Right. And it was like, what? Looking back, what the fuck were they teaching you?
Yeah.
Like that's a weird thing to teach kids. Like, hey, you know what? If you have to, you know, fool around, do this instead of this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, don't have kids, but you can give blowjobs because you can't get pregnant at giving blowjobs. Like, okay.
Yeah. That's like a real thing where like they, you know, they had anal sex or something.
I remember I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then you're still a virgin and you don't get pregnant. And it's like the virgin thing where it's like, oh, they're just talking about the front part, not the back part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so technically I'm still a virgin, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a thing. That's a real thing, which is like crazy, man. Oh my God.
It sucks because that shit's like you're being repressed. Like you can't, like you're being taught that doing it the other way, like the normal way or whatever, is like the more, you know, is a sin and to be shamed about. And even if you are married and you have kids, and it's almost like you still have all this shame of like pleasing God or whatever that bullshit is with are you having sex or are you having kids? Like, you know, you talk to the right people and it's like, if you're not trying to have kids, then it's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, that's, don't touch yourself. That's, you know, immoral or whatever. And all that shit. So yeah, you're just like, well, you know, if we weren't repressing kids so much to be ashamed of sex, which is a totally natural fucking thing, you know, which, because I mean, I was told that like, yeah, having sex at all before you're married is a sin. Doesn't even matter what you do, right? Yeah, then it's just like, that's just bullshit though. I mean, whatever, even if it's not bullshit, I mean, that's like You know what I mean? That's one interpretation or whatever of the same religion too. It was just some, it wasn't anything crazy. There was just some Christians or whatever, like a normal church. There's like a, you know, like I went to a church and with my grandma and there, you know, Catholic. There's definitely, I think I've been to more Catholic churches than anything.
Really?
For sure. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I hate going to church. It's so uncomfortable. I always think it's so weird. And I've never liked it unless it's for a funeral or something where like that feels way less weird to me than having to sit through mass or whatever.
And that's the funeral. That's cool, but the way you said it. No, but I get it. I get it.
But it is cooler. Yeah. It feels more real.
There was this one time we were like practicing back in the day, or we just played a show. That's what happened. And I was dating this girl named Anita. Oh, and we left and like I left with her. Or no, we separated. And I remember I was I texted her. I thought I was texting her something like it was like really like R-rated. Like I was texting her, but I accidentally texted you.
Oh, I don't remember.
You text, but you knew, you picked it up. You picked up on it. You're very clever. You picked up on it very quick, and you texted me back really quick. Something like you're joking with me, but you were like replying as her. And I remember thinking,
sounds like something I would do.
It was very like I was so embarrassed. I remember laughing, going, "What the fuck?" But it was like something really bad that I shouldn't. No one should have saw. Yeah. And you replied back real quick, like, "Oh, it's okay." Like yeah. And I was like, like, "Yeah, Daddy, it's all good." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So fucking embarrassed. Oh, I think of random things like that all the time that we got into, even though it wasn't that long. We weren't hanging out that long, but there was a lot. We have a lot of stories.
It's fun. Sometimes pictures they'll come up to you of us at like Don Perico's or something with Nick's mom, and we're all like toasty looking, you know, just like.
If you ever see any with me, grab those and send them to me because I wish I had those. I really wish I had those because one of the things I regret is I remember this guy came for one of the shows we did at I forget the name of the place now. It had like a little patio in the back. The Mint. Maybe the Mint? I don't know. But I remember this guy, his photographer came and Nick hired him and he like one of his buddies and he took all these dope pictures. And I remember Nick was like, "Hey, if you want any of them, let him know. He can like you just pay him and then he'll give you whatever you want, like good quality." Huh. I was like, "Nah," but I should have fucking done it. Like I wish I could buy those pictures because he took some good pictures that night, like really good pictures.
Yeah, I know. I saw some hooker spit pictures on Facebook the other day that I like. I mean, I think I've seen them, but like it's just been so long, and just seeing them again was like, oh, I feel like I hadn't seen these, and like it was really fun to see something I don't remember. Yeah, and you just don't think about it back then and stuff too, and like you know. Yeah, Teresa and Dave were like filming and stuff too, and we got some shit filmed, but it's like the worst quality, because it was just some little camcorder in a bar,
Yeah, but it's something. Sucks. It's something because that's something that's yeah. I mean, I look at him and I show my son. He looks at it. He doesn't really understand, but he laughs. He laughs because he likes the music. Like because I'll edit while he's in the room. He's playing with his toys or he's watching TV while I'm editing on the computer and. He likes Alcohol and Judgment. Every time it comes on, he's like, and then my wife's teaching him Spanish, and his thing is like if he wants more of something, like if he wants to hear something again, he'll say mas. It means like more in Spanish. Yeah. And whenever the song's over, he'll be like mas, and I'll like play it again.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. He loves it.
A little punk rocker kid.
Yeah, he likes anything with guitar. He loves guitar.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, he loves guitar. But one of the things I was trying to bug Nick to do one of these. He's in a situation right now where he can't. I don't know if you talk to him, but one of the things I need to bug him about is I want to figure out how to get those songs because I don't have those songs.
Yeah,
I screen grabbed or like I screen recorded the Alcohol and Judgment that I use for the podcast. But I want to figure out if he is willing to give me the MP3s or if he is willing to so I can do it or he can do it, put them on SoundCloud or put them on I can put them on Spotify.
Yeah,
I could put the songs on Spotify, just put it out, like the EP that he had made.
that'd be
Like
cool.
he needs to put it out, man, because I would like to, I would hear it. You know, I want to play it for my son and stuff.
Yeah,
Like just like put it on a playlist and just play it. But I don't know where he's at with it or if he's even willing to, because it's his, you know, he owns the stuff. You know, I don't want to like push him to do something he doesn't want to do or he's not prepared to do. I don't know how to.
I mean, I feel like he wouldn't care, but yeah, like
Right.
I don't even think it's on MySpace anymore because I feel like it used to be linked to the Facebook account, but I think it's all gone.
He had told me it was on SoundCloud, but only Hooker Spit Windex is on SoundCloud. Right. They're on, but he said it was on SoundCloud, or he had told me that, but I can't find it. If it is, I don't know what he labeled it or what. I really wish I could hear those songs. Like I want to just hear them, just to like, I mean, I was part of it and I want to hear those songs.
I know, right? I don't even get to hear those songs.
Right. I mean, what's up? He's got them. He's got the original tracks.
You know, and yeah, he's out there in LA by himself. And I know he's got, you know, whatever his friends and stuff down there, but he wasn't playing music last time I talked to him. He's like, I don't really need another job that I'm not getting paid for right now. I was just like, oh, okay.
Right.
So yeah, he's just doing his thing and hopefully he's okay. And you know, it sucks. We're all over the place and you know, definitely miss hanging out with them and stuff like that. So
yeah, I need to hit him up because it's been a while, but I was trying to get him. He was so down for a while. We just couldn't figure out a day. And then once I tried to hit him up again, he was like, you know what? I can't. And I was like, all right, it's cool. It's not a big deal, man. Just let me know. Because he seemed like he was down. Tim, I feel like I haven't bugged him yet, but I don't know if he'd be down to do this, but you know, like a solo. And even then it's like,
he probably would be.
Yeah, I know. And even then, like I felt more when we did the Hooker Spit one, like the Hooker Spit episode. Yeah, it was I got a lot of like positive energy, you know, from you guys, especially from them, because I already know from you, like, oh yeah, you've done this so many times that it's old news. I know that you're down, but with them, I don't know how they are with this. So, but you know, Nick made me feel like he was cool, and Tim, but I just have yet to bug Tim. I should, but I don't know. I don't want to. Like, I don't know. I've been I get so many no's. I just get like fucking in this rut of like, fuck, no one's gonna accept this. Do you remember Dana? Dana Spano? No. I feel like you knew her. She was my brother and sister's friend. Dana. She would always go to our shows. She was a young girl. I feel like if you saw her, you would know her. See a picture. My brother just posted a picture. She just passed away. It's really sad.
Oh,
cervix cancer. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I feel like you know her. But anyways, I just remember the Mint. She used to always go to the Mint, and she would always go to our shows. Always go to our shows.
Aw.
And I feel like she knew you guys. She knew you guys. She had to have. I don't remember how, in what capacity, but she knew you guys.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it's a real bummer because she was young and she was younger than me. And I'm younger than you.
How old are you?
I'm 5 years younger than you, I believe. I was born in 85.
Christ.
That's what I'm telling you, man. Back in those days, younger. 4 years younger, so you're 81.
Yeah.
July.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. I remember you just had a birthday.
I just turned 41.
You just turned 41. Okay. I'm going to turn 37 in October.
Nice.
Not really.
Oh, it just keeps getting worse, dude.
Yeah, I know. I bet. Yeah. But no, she was a couple years younger than me. And I didn't think it was gonna be a big deal. But when my sister called me and told me that she had passed, she had told me like, okay, she's in the hospital. We're gonna go see her tomorrow. I'm like, all right, well, let her know that I'm thinking of her because I've been thinking of her.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, the next day, or even that night, my sister called me and was like, yeah, she passed away. And I was like, fuck. And all of a sudden I started like crying, and I had these like emotions where I was thinking about when we were little kids and how mean I was to her. And it just fucked me up.
Oh.
But
damn, dude.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to be so emotional about it. I was really just, minding my own business, and all of a sudden I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Minding your own business, and then
I was just like,
your
yeah,
emotions.
I didn't think it was gonna be, yeah, but I was thinking about all the bad times, like all the times I would, like, I was like, she was like in first grade, and I remember second grade, and I was like in fifth grade, sixth grade, and I was walking home, and she'd walk with me, and she'd bug me about how much she loved the Backstreet Boys and like NSYNC and shit, and I was like, I don't give a fuck, little girl, get the fuck out of here. But like thinking that, or even, I probably said it to her, like, you know, like something stupid like that. But like thinking about that, I'm like, fuck, I was rude, you know, it was a rude thought, but you know.
Right. Well, you know, I'm sure you did nice things too, and your brain's just remembering the bad shit.
And that's exactly what my sister had. She brought up all these. Remember this time when we all did this? Good. Like, remember the, I don't know if you remember the day I was in junior high when it snowed in Bakersfield.
Oh.
Like, it just fucking snowed randomly in Bakersfield one day.
Mm-hmm.
And like Bakersfield closed down all the schools because no one knew what the fuck to do. Like, they didn't like, Bakersfield is not prepared for an inch of snow.
No. Yeah.
So I remember that morning, it was her and her brothers came and knocked on our door, like, let's go play. It was like 6 a.m. And any other day, because that's what Dana was, she would knock on our door like all the time and it'd bug us and be like, get the fuck out of here, you know? And it was just 6 a.m. and it was just this day that was like different than the rest. And we're like, okay, let's go. And we were all cool. And like, we all hung out. We all went and like walked and, like, on the streets of snow and, you know, just having fun, throwing snowballs and shit. And my sister reminded me of those times. Like, I was like, wow, okay. Forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, dude. That's it's tricky. Yeah. That's like my brain always goes to the bad stuff. And I feel like most of the time people don't even like remember or know what I'm talking about, or even, you know, like they didn't take it that way, or, you know, something like that anyway. And
Right.
and the good stuff comes up second for some reason. But yeah, man, I mean, I bet she, you know, and she came to all our shows and stuff, and she definitely didn't give a shit you didn't like the Backstreet Boys. So you know, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Yeah. And
I
you know,
could
I
have
had that happen
sworn
to
you
me.
knew her.
I fucking, yeah, I maybe. And I feel bad because like people used to come up to me, and I just like, I'm like, fuck, I don't remember. I don't know you at all. And they're like, you know, it used to happen to me too. It's like, my last name's Funk, and people remember that, you know, or whatever. I'm just like, I feel so bad right now.
My wife thinks that you changed your name to, like, to be in the band. Like you were like you were like such a band guy.
Yeah,
You wanted to change your name to Funk, and I was
that's
like,
what I
no,
thought we
no,
were
no.
going to be famous.
His
Yeah,
name was Funk before. His name was originally Funk, and then he became Funk. He became funky. You know what I mean?
yeah, right. No, and it's just like, and he plays bass. No, he made
Yeah.
it up.
I was like, no. You don't understand. He didn't change his name. He is the name.
Yeah. Now sometimes people are like, I tell them, you know, I always spell my name for people, because people will just be like, oh, what's your last name? And I'm like, Funk. And they're like, how do you spell that? PH something? I'm like, no, it's FUNK. It's like, it's how it's Funk. They're like, oh, okay. And yeah,
What
that's,
what
no one
is that?
believes me. What's that name?
What nationality is that?
German.
Is it?
Yeah. And it's probably, I don't know for sure. It could just be Funk, but there are other names like Funkhauser is a big
I've
one.
heard that.
Yeah, that's a German one, or maybe Austrian. It's like, you know, it's one of those. And so mine could have been shortened to Funk at some point, which I guess sounds less German. And I don't know what it sounded like. If that's what it got changed to. It definitely was before funk music and people like James Brown existed or whatever. So you know, it worked or whatever. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. So like, it's like funk goes back a while in my family. But I think my dad or my grandpa at one point had said that maybe it's possible it could have been shortened or whatever.
But your both of your parents are German, of German descent?
No, my dad is 100% German though. And that's it. So I'm like half German.
Half German, half.
Um Portuguese and Swiss Italian,
Oh
and
wow.
then like other shit like French, a little bit of French in there.
Oh, so your mom's like a mixture of everything.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like a quarter, but I'm like a quarter Portuguese and like half German, and then like a bunch of other like fucking things. Something like that.
You did a
But
23andMe?
No, I've had two different tests and they've both expired. I'd never do them. I keep forgetting to do them. I should though. I want to.
Yeah, I want to do one too to see, because all I know is like my mom may be part Native American, and then my dad is all like he's was born and raised in Mexico.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm like, okay, but what else? Like, what if there's something crazy? Because Mexicans are pretty fresh. Like Mexico was conquered by Spain, conquered Mexico like not that long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long time for us, but like in history times, like
Totally.
Mexicans weren't a thing. Like fucking, what 500-600 years ago, Mexicans were not a thing. Spaniards conquered the Aztecs or the Mayans.
Oh, right.
I forget.
Incas in there maybe somewhere.
Right. So like, I forget. I
Right.
remember Danny DeVito explained it very well on Sunny. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He goes, "No, the Spaniards banged the Mayans, and they created Mexicans." Something like that. Like they conquered the Mayans. So like Mexicans are like a mixture of like a bunch of different fucking Hispanic, or not Hispanic, what do you call them? Spanish people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know what I've been told that my last name, Licea, originated in Greece.
Oh.
So I'm like, what the fuck happened there? Like what, like where's that? So I don't know, but I want to know as well. I want to learn my origin story, if it's even possible, because how reliable are those things? I don't know. I mean, DNA, but they could just be like, fuck it, just give it to them, just like just like just like fill it in, just give it to them.
Right. It's like getting a lotto ticket, just like a bunch of random.
Who knows? Some guy in a laboratory, or they give me the wrong one, who knows? It says I'm African somewhere, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Right. I remember like Genghis Khan was coming up a bunch as like because he just like fucked everything.
Yeah, that's true. I read about him. That guy did fuck everything. He fucked everything. He would fuck girls, have kids with them, and then fuck the kids.
Oh my God.
Not as kids, when they grew up. Like they grew up, and then he would fuck the girls like when they were mature enough to fuck. And it was like, dude, that's your granddaughter, bro. Well, that's your daughter. And then like the granddaughter, he would just like fuck girls. Like he would just, and if you were a girl, you're getting fucked. If you're about Genghis Khan, like it was like a fact. Yeah, like you were just getting fucked. Like that was a thing.
It's insane that some people just exist or existed. Like someone was just doing that. Like, can you imagine doing that? Well, and like probably murdering everyone and just whatever else.
No, but I can imagine someone with, in those days, that had unchecked power, or like a unchecked ego. Like I can imagine someone doing that. Like someone with an unchecked ego just being like, I'm just gonna fucking do what I want, say what I want.
Yeah.
No one could do anything. I have power. Like imagine someone try to step to him, he get someone to cut his head off or kill his family. Like that's like, I don't know. I can see that happening all the time, but I don't think I could ever. I mean, who knows? Maybe if in the certain circumstances I could be that person, but I don't. I'm glad I don't have that option to try to be that person, because
you'd like want to do all that stuff. Like you want to like.
I wouldn't want to, but I mean, if I was put in that situation where like I just had an inflated ego,
wild. Yeah,
I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Like there's just so many fucking crazy things like that, and like someone did that. Someone was born, and that's what they did.
Yeah, and they're known for that. That's what they're known for,
right?
Like that's the thing too. Is like I think about like I heard something about Adolf Hitler, so Adolf Hitler was Adolf Hitler. He did what he did, right? But imagine like if his parents knew when he was a kid that he was going to do what he was going to do. Would you still like would you want to like put a pillow over his head when he's sleeping, or or is that even a thing? Like what do you like, or even like now, like just he's such a hated person in history. Like it's rare you hear. I mean, I heard Mexicans name their kid Adolfo, which is Adolf in English.
Oh yeah,
but like I've never heard any American be like, yeah, my son Adolf. You know, what I mean? Right? Like, that's like a no name.
Yeah, he ruined that mustache and he ruined that name.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And like another thing I heard, which is kind of similar, is like for Mexicans, especially for many years, like my aunt, my tia, her name's Yolanda. Like Yolanda, like you've heard that name before.
Mm-hmm.
But like ever since Selena died. You ever heard of Selena? You know, she's like a huge Mexican superstar. A woman named Yolanda killed her. Ever since that day, you hear no Mexicans name their daughters or any girl Yolanda. Like that's like not a thing anymore.
Oh yeah, dude. You don't fuck with Selena.
Everyone you hear Yolanda is an old person. Like there is no like hey little girl, hey Yolanda, hey. There is no such thing in Mexican culture.
No,
it's
the
like
culture just shifted. Like nope. Like
with Hitler, like I mean Adolf is less known. I feel like a lot of people don't know. I guarantee if you ask a lot of people, or I don't know, what do you think? If you ask people, what's Hitler's first name? A lot of people would get that wrong.
Probably more than I think.
Because Hitler is like mainly what he's known for. Hitler. You don't hear that name. Even like people who had that name back then, they changed it. Had to have, because I don't hear any. I don't know anyone named Hitler anymore. Never was someone brave enough to be like, oh yeah, my name is Joseph Hitler. Like what the fuck?
Right. There's probably though, like like you go to Austria or Germany or some Bavarian place.
Someone who's proud of the name.
There's probably I mean like it's like what if someone in your family was a murderer and but you guys are not, obviously, and you still have kids and they're going to be your last name or whatever. So
I don't know about that. I don't know.
There's probably someone with like, he's like, oh yeah, my great grandpa's fucking Adolf Hitler.
Surprised. I would be surprised.
I'm Jeff Hitler.
Yeah. Like, think of think of the
Yolanda Hitler.
Yolanda Hitler. Alex Hitler. The most uncommon name. Like,
oh, now I kind of want to have a kid and I'll name him Adolfo. Because that's amazing.
Well, Adolfo is like I said, I don't think people know that. I mean, I think maybe Mexicans do not know, or a lot of them do not know that Hitler's first name was Adolf, because I know a lot of Adolfos. Like I work with an Adolfo. Like in English, it's Adolf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's like the thing. But like, I don't know. It's just Mexicans that we don't know. I don't know, but I hear Adolfo a lot, but never Hitler.
You gotta bring Adolf Hitler back. Name more people Hitler.
Jesus Christ. No.
He ruined it. That's a good example of a single person is so terrible or so whatever that they ruin a whole thing for everybody, for Definitely. At least in our lifetimes.
And he took that mustache from Charlie Chaplin. You knew that?
Yeah, and Charlie Chaplin gets he ruined Charlie Chaplin.
His mustache. Ruined, because every time I remember I saw Charlie Chaplin, the first time I saw him, like I'm like, he's copying Hitler. I'm like, no, Hitler copied him.
Yeah, it was like a popular thing back then.
Right.
Yeah. I we actually went to one of the beer halls in Germany where the brown shirts used to have their fucking meetings and Hitler was there and all that kind of shit in Munich. Yeah, it's a Hofbrauhaus. Like Hofbrauhauses, I think there's one in Vegas, there's one in Cleveland. They're all over the place, but there's the original one in Germany, and it's really interesting. You're like, I'm in the place where the brown shirts were started or whatever.
Damn.
And it's really kind of, dude, Munich's weird. That's just weird, honestly. Like because of shit like that. We walked by some bank and they had a big old sign in the window talking about how they used to be an SS facility and how they used to have prisoners there and stuff like that. Now they're a bank or whatever. But you're just like, you walk around, you're just always reminded of that shit. Like it's just like it's fascinating and bizarre and surreal. It's crazy. But yeah. He's Genghis Khan's pretty terrible. There's probably Genghis Khans. There's probably Genghises around still or something. Or, there's a lot of terrible people. There's probably still Stalins and shit. there's people still named Ted. There's Al Bundy. I don't know. Hitler though, Hitler just fucking ruined that shit. If he was a baby and you got to go back in time, if I got to go back in time, I would murder that fucking baby.
Yeah, but you don't have a baby, so
I don't.
But my thing is, I don't think I could do it because I know I have a baby and I know what it's like. I could never have that. Maybe before I had a baby, I could be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I would do it. But now that I know like what it's like holding a baby,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I can do it.
like if you from the future got to come back in time and be like, hey, kill your baby, he's going to be the next Adolfo Hitler.
Ooh,
Yolanda.
yeah, that's hard. That's hard. No.
He's like, he's like, bro, I'm you, bro.
Yeah. I think I'd have an easier time being like if Adolf was maybe 13. Then I feel more comfortable. Yeah, like, hey, what's up, guy? And then just like kill the shit out of him. I can kill the shit out of a 13-year-old.
All talking back to you, and
but
stuff,
not a baby. Not a baby.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, Hitler wasn't doing
just
that
like,
shit at 13.
Just
so
like,
you're
just strangling him out.
Yeah. Yeah, no one ever says that shit. That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Wait a little bit so it's not as cute.
Wait a little bit. Yeah.
Why has it got to be a baby? Yeah.
Maybe 12, preteen, maybe 12. But not an infant. No, I don't know about that.
Right.
I just wouldn't feel right.
Or right before they had the first brown shirts meeting or all that shit or whatever. And like he's about to walk in there, you just show up and he's like fucking strangle him.
I think he'd be too strong. He'd be too strong. I think 13-year-old Hitler would be easier to take down.
It'd just shoot him. Yeah.
I feel like pre-pubic hair Hitler would be way easier to take down.
Oh yeah.
Just take him out. Just like fuck him.
Just have a couple of beers and just fucking go
like,
out.
Hey, like, fuck him. I'm taller than you. You're thinner than me.
Oh, but I'm taller. Yeah. Pull some shit. Yeah.
Done, son.
I like that. I think that's a good spot. I think we should end on that.
We should end on this.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You gotta check out this podcast called 5 to 4. And it's just the number 5 and then a slash and then a 4. But it's you say it like 5 to 4. It's a Supreme Court podcast. It's really fucking cool. I like it a lot, at least. And you should see, they basically just talk about these really fucked up Supreme Court cases. And it's really fun. They give credit where credit's due, but there's a lot of really, really fucked up Supreme Court cases. And that's where I got there's just like the one I was telling you about where the dude's like, hey, I'm innocent. And then he just gets executed because whatever. And that was the other dude. He's like trying not to get executed. And they're just kind of like, you're just trying not to get executed. Like, you're guilty, obviously, and so it's like that, like there's a whole thing about it. But anyway, that's on Spotify. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I tell people all the time. Okay, go be a dad. I'll talk to you later.
Hey man, have a good one. It was good talking to you.
You too. Yeah, man. Anytime. Hit me up anytime.
All right, man. Peace.
All right. Bye, man.